Solo mid here in Madison Square Garden. We are live for Champion Select #1.
What's really interesting here is when we were thinking about the picks and bans, we were thinking that the red side was going to be banning Azir and Kalista in both, like in pretty much every game, but CLG actually opens up with the Azir ban. Bjergsen obviously undefeated with it, but it's not like Pobelter is a slouch on the champion. Basically that says to me that CLG doesn't really have huge target bans that they want to go for. They can go for the more generic stuff like Azir.
They have a different first pick priority in mind. I think that when you think of CLG and their recent trends, TSM should try and deny Smithy's champion pool. The Tanko and the Gragas have been by far his most successful champions in the jungle, but TSM haven't gone after either of those yet.
Yeah, well, as far as first picks in the TIP series, CLG was blue side 2 times. One game was Alistar, which is banned, but the very first game, it was the first pick Echo, something they're very willing to first pick here. And I wonder if we're going to see a ban? Definitely not. Ashe.
Wow, actually leaves quite a bit open. It takes away a bit of initiation from Doublelift that we saw earlier in the season on that Ashe.
Yeah, there's an interesting choice here, especially with the Alistar ban thrown in from Team Solomid as well. Makes Counter Logic Gaming have to choose between getting that tank jungler for Smithy in the Echo, which is the preferred one, or trying to grab the Braum up, which has been the big playmaking support. When Alistar has been banned, it's been huge for Afromu and Counter Logic Gaming as a whole to have him on a playmaker.
A lot of the Gragas, the Janna, Braum, like you said, a lot of things here. Looking for a Gnar.
As far as recently played champions from the top laners, Zion, Spartan, and Dyrus have really preferred Olaf, which is sometimes banned, Maokai, and of course Gnar. So Maokai's banned. There might be a potential pinch here from top lane champions if they want to go for the Gnar.
There
but
it
with
is,
Olaf still being up, there's no pinch. The real S tier of supports with Alistar and Braum is already half denied. So the Braum first pick is probably the smart choice.
And it's even more crucial for CLG because they rely on Afromu's playmaking so much to get him one of these champions that he can initiate with.
Definitely what starts off the early game for Counter Logic Gaming. And it was the slump in the middle of the season they've been able to come out of, mostly on Afro's roams, coming back into that. So we'll see if we can do some on Braum.
Yeah, the Braum is huge. I think the jungle picks are also contested. The thing about these guys is they have so much overlap within their champion pools. A question that we had, though, was whether or not Smithy was going to be willing to early pick Nidalee or if CLG was going to have to ban it. Because in TSM series, whenever Nidalee is available, they've picked it right away, whether they're blue side or red side, and those are both big-time power picks from TSM.
Yeah, Smithy's Nidalee definitely not nearly as fearsome as Santorin, so...
But we just haven't seen it as well.
He has played it once.
Back and forth, brought out a few different jungle champions. Smithy definitely falling back to the Gragas for the last 4 to 5-ish games of the second half of the split. Definitely helping. They would go with the Trist, the Janna in that comp, but now the Braum is what they have thrown into the mix. Still waiting for the pickups on their side. Seeing the Kog'Maw and the Nidalee, definitely a bit of a poke giveaway there. Maybe going to Wild Turtle, however. We'll see if Bjergsen counters with a mid pick.
Kog'Maw has trended more towards the 80 carry pick here.
There's the Gragas and the Trist for Counter Logic Gaming.
Yeah. A little bit interesting. We thought people were going to try and deny Smithy's jungle pool in the semifinals. But Gragas actually just kind of fell through and he was instead prioritizing the Echo. Here, though, against the Nidalee and Kog'Maw early picks, they instead go for the Gragas, maybe just trying to match some of the early game pressure that Santorin's Nidalee could put out.
Yeah, the Cinder Hulk tanks of Gragas and Echo fill very similar roles, but Gragas can make a lot more moves early than Echo can.
Also, if you're going to be going up against Nidalee, you do want to have a pretty meaty front line, Braum and a bunch of tanks, so if the spear does find its way, it's not nearly as damaging.
Have a chance to stand toe-to-toe at a few of these fights without losing half of their health bars. We'll see how CLG attempts that once they get to the situation more towards mid-game. Early game, what are you seeing with the pick so far as we kind of round out CLG's side?
Doublelift on his classic Tristana that he's been heavily favoring recently. Very big on pushing down the towers early. And he's been such a big late game carry for them as well. They have him clear side waves almost instantly with Tristana late game. He gets so much of the farm because he can clear a wave on the side so quickly and then join the team. It's been such a key difference for them and him being with the rest of the team for those fights.
Really putting those moments in the past where you'd say, oh, Doublelift's still in the side lane. Not any longer.
Whoa!
Victor Yasuo locked in. Zion to carry from the top lane.
He's been practicing this pick since week 1. of the LCS.
And specifically as a Gnar counter matchup. It emerged over in Asia. It was used to great success over and over again. Really like to see this isolation. So CLG definitely want the 1 versus 1 Yasuo versus Gnar.
So in the LPL playoffs, Yasuo was one of the most contested picks because of how much those teams team fight, but that was also Yasuo mid lane. Yasuo top lane is a special flavor here. Obviously, some people have done it around the world, but this is a high damage team comp. It also explains why they want the Gragas as well to set up the Yasuo in fights. Zion Spartan is going to be looking to go off in this game.
Right, yeah, so let's go a little bit more into why Yasuo is good against Gnar. He can win wall the boomerang, then you don't get the cooldown refresh. He can engage at will when there's mini Gnar and really take advantage of the mini Gnar form because he can travel through the minion wave.
Well, it's a good start to picks and bans.
So it's absolutely an amazing start. I was wondering, and it happened the past few weeks, of when NA would start doing this. When would they start going outside the boundary of the picks and not be gated by pressure?
Yeah, I'm so excited right now because this Yasuo, it enables so many things. Like, we've also even seen Double Lift set up Yasuo on Tristana, like jumping in and using his ultimate.
There is so much
there are
setup
a lot
here.
of possibilities here. A lot of them are more dangerous than others, but they have been used.
Really dangerous stuff for some of the setups. I do like the fact that Pobelter is on Victor, who's just still a high damage mid laner, so they're not losing out on as much wave clear to have the Yasuo and aren't completely tunneled into a team fight. But there is the potential weakness of not really having that strong of a tank line. Zion Spartan has been a really big tank in most of CLG's recent games, and TSM is known for their great team fight.
And that's why I highlight the importance of the Echo and the Gragas so much for Smithy. He can bring that team fight tank presence to the CLG lineup. I really like that you mentioned the wave clear, though, because having the Tristana and Victor for that really makes it a well-rounded comp.
Well, he can be a boss in the fights, do what he needs to. CLG looks like they've got their comp as well as Team Solo Mid. Game 1 is about to go live. Head over to Twitter and share your predictions. Tweet hashtag CLG win or hashtag TSM win to @LOL Esports, and we'll be checking in throughout the series for how you are calling it. Ladies and gentlemen, Madison Square Garden about to get on their feet here for Game 1, and we're about to be on the rift with Team Solo Mid versus Counter Logic Gaming, and we are onto the rift.
All right, so we did spend a lot of time talking about the Yasuo and CLG side because of that pick, but on TSM side, the reason why TSM picked Gnar so early is because it's good into almost all other matchups, and it's been Dyrus' best champion, very consistent with that champion. Only the recent emergence of the Olaf has been
All right, and look at CLG. They have come into their own this split, absolutely. And Bjergsen says TSM has taken notice.
I think CLG found a really good way for their team to play. Double plays these late game, Tristana really good AD carries, and Zion plays very split push oriented, but he has very strong laning phase, so he usually gets ahead. And Pobelter just plays very safe team fighting champions. He always goes even or ahead in farm. He plays very safe. He doesn't die, and that just works really well for CLG because they go into team fights and they just do really well. And early game, they play off top, they play off bottom, but I feel like CLG struggled to find that identity in all the other seasons, which is why they would crumble around playoffs, but now they've found it, and that's why they're looking so good.
Yeah, and what Bjergsen describes is exactly what CLG has been going for in this game. One thing that I should mention about the champion select, Zion Spartan is not really a Maokai player, which is one of the more reasons that they banned that. It's the Gnar and the Olaf that have been the contested picks between Dyrus and Zion Spartan. Another reason that the Gnar was picked early.
TSM obviously expecting this pretty much exact layout from CLG. The Yasuo definitely a twist for them, but they were definitely expecting the double lift Afro-Mu combo. So we will see how Turtle and Lustboy can deal with that one. Lane swap wards are down, and it looks like they're headed top right now. Nobody's been spotted quite yet. They're waiting at the base gate.
And I talked a little about this yesterday when we started seeing the Malphite and different picks as well. I like that they're bringing the somewhat outside-the-box picks that they've been training, but can still fall back on comfort after this. Why not test the waters? Why not see what you can do? We're going to get this one started off. CLG just under the wing of Team Solo Mid in the jungle.
Yeah, really nice move there. Lustboy is going to see this one. He's not going to be able to do it, but at least he would force a smite on the Raptor, which Xmithy may have wanted to save. Interesting that they decided to start at the Raptors as far as a double jungle route, but really I think they're just trying to preempt Santorin.
Yeah, very smart here by TSM to go for the lane swap. They don't want to have Dyrus in that counter matchup with Zion Spartan. They don't want to let him be taken advantage of, so they do the very normal double jungling. Dyrus will go back to base and use his teleport out. Meanwhile, Zion and Smithy, although you mentioned the one camp they started on enemy territory, have just kept up the double jungling. The big wrinkle there is that they didn't have Zion tanking very much, just using the Yasuo as shield. So Zion will have his teleport up, and they have a slight advantage there.
Yeah, running straight to the top lane, where now they might actually prompt a 2v1 against Wild Turtle because they're sending support assistance with Afromu.
It's a very, very scary 2v1 because Yasuo has so much mobility and can run through the minion line with his dash. Braum, combined with him, can provide kill pressure on an AD carry lane very early on. Right now, though, Braum's still roaming. Afromu trying to get some wards down. Coming in behind, actually, maybe. They may be looking for an early Afromu gank here onto Turtle.
Yeah, Afromu has a great
They've got behind him already.
He's on spot.
What a slow movement in from Afro.
He's
Turtle
got a flash
finally
to
starts to get out. Turtle's
it.
vision on the map tells him that there was nothing, and fancy feeds himself into safety.
Very, very well played from Turtle there.
Yeah.
I thought he was definitely dead. Zion actually dashing away from him back into the minion line, and then Turtle very intelligently moves away from those minions.
Walk away.
So Yasuo can't use them against him, and a great sidestep there.
And there's a certain element of
avoided.
There's a large element of trust that TSM is putting into Wild Turtle right here. So long in the regular season, he was criticized for dying out of position and was seen as a liability within the TSM team. But now they're putting him solo lane Kog'Maw, and his ability to sidestep that, have Summoner Spell discipline as well as getting away from the gank is really critical for TSM, and it kind of shows how far he's come this split.
It definitely does. And they didn't even leave wards for him when they left him up there by himself.
Probably not wise. Honestly, you should probably leave some wards for him, but he's still outplaced.
The strength on that has been on top and bottom. We see Dyrus almost put into these situations previously in a 2v1 so he could get 3-man ganked under a turret. That's not something you see anymore. TSM has been able to start preventing that, which actually hurt the top lane quite a bit.
Yeah, really good start
big
here
in the side lanes
from TSM. Both in the pre-game planning for the lane swap and the in-game execution there with the dodge.
See Doublelift's 6 games on Tristana, that 100% win rate. The team loves to get him on that, like Kobe said, pushing waves, getting himself back to the team. Right now, he's in his element.
Specifically, what CLG uses Tristana so well for there is the ability to demolish turrets so quickly, especially in the mid and late game. CLG loves to group up and just out-rotate the opponent, and even if they get 2 or 3 seconds ahead with a late game Trist, that means a turret. And also Doublelift is a very strong laner with it as well.
Yeah, and you can see the adaptation here too. Because the pressure already so early on Turtle, they've sent Lustboy back up. So it is actually going to be Doublelift pulling ahead in experience now since he's the AD carry in a solo lane. And they're going to try and get that Tristana up so she can start knocking down the outer turrets and get the domino effect of all the outer turrets first to get that gold lead. Good sidestep.
Wow, Pole Belter with the dodges as well. They might be able to turn this around. That's the roam from Afromu. This is why CLG started to catapult towards the second split. Oh, not this time though. Good dodges on both sides after the engage.
Yep, both teams with the same mind. It's some nice sidestepping going on right there. Santorin chased a little bit far. As soon as his spear missed, he should have respected the counter gank a little bit more because he didn't. His team loses out on the summoner spells. It's just the heal from Pole Belter, but it's multi-flashes from the TSM side.
Yeah, both of these supports have been very active, both Lustboy and Afromu with constant roaming here. Now they're even bringing Smithy in tow.
It was actually the first blood for CLG. That'll come up shortly, I hope.
Are able to grab it. We will get this repaired as soon as possible for you in-house on the screens. 6.5 in, first blood going over to CounterLogic Gaming in the top lane. We'll also inform you of the situation. We're good to go. We'll be getting back on the screen in just a second. We apologize.
Yeah, hopefully we can get a replay of that, but it is first blood over to Zion Spartan, which is the critical thing. We're back.
First blood knocked the service right out. It's just that strong. Sometimes it happens. Thank you for sticking with us for the short moment there. 7 minutes in, we'll get a replay of that, if possible, back on your screen. The kill did go over to Zion Spartan in the top lane.
And specifically, CLG focused Lustboy, which was the point of that gank. Lustboy burned the flash in the mid lane, so he is the target of this gank. Perfect cue from Afromu and the follow.
Yeah, Zion just flashing to get right in there as well, and nowhere for Lustboy to go.
things are rolling now. Counter Logic Gaming in the beginning. Let's see if they can continue to carry this.
Now CLG have had the better early game consistently all split long over TSM. And it has been TSM biding their time and waiting till later in the game for the crucial dragon fights, the mid-game fights to turn it back around in their favor.
TSM, more than any other team, is okay with that. Just hanging out for the entirety of the game and then coming back strong.
Yeah, as much as you can be okay with it.
Yeah. Very frequently, TSM will play a little bit overly passive instead of taking a risk which could go really bad to take a small loss. But we also have to mention that during the semifinals, CLG was falling behind early to tip quite frequently. It happened in both games 1 and 2, sometimes by as much as 4,000 gold by the 13-minute mark. Yet CLG actually displayed very strong team fighting against Team Impulse, using their tank line properly. This game, they have an incredibly high damage team fight team and a lot of initiation potential, but not the same type of front line they had in the Team Impulse game. And TSM is a much better team fighting team than Team Impulse, so it's going to be really interesting to watch.
That's a big thing that Gnar does bring, is a ranged AoE initiation where he can throw his body in and get an AoE stun down. So both teams, a lot of tools for the mid-game team fight. Right now, it actually looks like Smithy's jumped the wall into the back of Dragon, I think, on the mini-map there, so he's sneaking it.
Well, that's not very sneaky.
The rest of the team, not too sneaky, but he started it out. He got it done.
Power and numbers will still get it done. Nicely able to clean this up. Not too much of a disparity through the 80 carries as we're seeing double lift on your screen, but that mid lane, Bjergsen over Pobelter, 85 to 69 right now.
That's sneaky Scuttle Crab.
They've got jukes. This one he sets up his spear with the stun from Smite first. Able to land it.
Can't go on tilt from Scuttle. That does not work here in the finals. So it's going to be Chalice coming in for Bjergsen, his first item. The Giant's Belt in for Dyrus in that top side. The Shiv's already finished up with that kill for Zion Spartan. Let's see if he can actually give Dyrus any trouble, as that 1v1 is now matched up towards the top side.
Yeah, very frequently you'll see an offensive item first onto a Gnar. We've seen a lot of Black Cleavers and Hex Drinkers from him. But against Yasuo here, he's really respecting Zion Spartan's damage, trying to go really tanky really early on in the game. Additionally, they have a lot of damage from Santorin's Nidalee within the team composition, so Gnar doesn't need to bring the same damage threat. It will diminish Dyrus' threat in a split push, though, so he's more trying to counter Zion Spartan's threat with a split push in this composition.
Catching Pobelter on a bit of a roam for a ward here.
This is a great amount of damage.
This is quite a bit of damage on that mid turret. They have a ward in that situation. No, it was just TSM, right place, right time.
TSM applying a lot of pressure on that mid turret, and they almost were able to take it down. It transitions into not only the blue seal, but also deep wards here on the blue side. And no answer from CLG.
The thing is, in order for Lustboy to roam through the mid lane, he did leave Wild Turtle in the bottom lane, and the turret was cleared by double lift. So now, with Pobelter having the upgraded laser, and if he hits level 9, he can easily clear the whole wave with his Death Ray. And if CLG actually gives enough support, they could hold this one turret advantage for quite some time. It doesn't really appear like they're going to be going for it, though, since they have lost some ward pressure in their own jungle.
You can see that's you can see that's the matchup right there playing out. Extremely favorable trade for Zion.
No help for Pobelter. I think they could have held that, but instead TSM commits to it, and now it's a fight.
Whoa, pretty big tell on that teleport coming in. Dyrus in the top side's way too low to come in on this fight. He goes down to the top side actually to double lift in the fight now with the Dragon. Bjergsen's gonna get hit up. They give that kill to Pobelter. Now it's going on to Lustboy. The jump through. Oh, cannot get it to hit on the Winter's Bite, but what a fight across the map.
There's that Tristana though. Double lift left so much, takes down the turret with a tiny bit of time left alone.
Got himself a kill too.
That fight itself, though, you can see how good this Yasuo can be in team fights. They get the extended knockup from the Braum ultimate and just destroy Bjergsen. Yes, TSM did get the turret, but CLG ends up coming out way on top in that trade because they applied pressure top lane while simultaneously collapsing mid lane and winning this extended fight.
Bjergsen blowing the flash early there for the Braum Q.
And
doesn't
all
have
Smithy
anything left
needed
here.
was to just knock him a little bit to the side. Feed's still alive here. Zion gets the Yasuo ult off that one. And Lustboy, he really just had to turn tail and run. The Scuttle Crab nearly sold him out as well.
It did, but not going to be enough. Just cost them another flash there. And the rest of TSM are able to escape with their lives.
Well, Escaping a few times in the top. CLG's found a few kinks in the armor, though, and they've been able to bring in a bit of gold. That on the AD carry, the mid and the top, the two people that are going to be doing DPS for this composition. So more power to CLG here as they move into the mid lane, trying to answer with a bit of the damage that TSM just gave to them. It doesn't look like they'll have the same result, though.
Yeah. The one game that TSM lost in the semifinals of Team Liquid was when Bjergsen was on Orianna. He's been able to lane and farm very well with it, but TSM hasn't been able to set up team fights in pretty much any of their games in which Bjergsen can get off a good shockwave. This as well is a very mobile team for CLG, which makes it difficult for Bjergsen to get shockwaves off. Not to mention how mobile CLG is being on the map. It's going to be very hard for TSM to actually set up the proper team fights.
Yeah, it's also going to be hard for them to wave clear now because the blue has been taken away. And that is going to be some extra pressure for CLG. The outer turrets are very easy for CLG to take with this comp. And the last one is their focus. Everyone's grouped up with Zion split pushing here. He does not have teleport. Wow, Dyrus does have teleport.
That's a dive.
Oh, Beard goes back. They're not going to look for the turret. They cancel him out immediately. Dyrus stops the TP. He's stuck in the top. That means CLG has some time with mid lane turret, and they're getting what they want.
Yep, the dive executed too quickly there. CLG do get the kill and turret. Dyrus canceling his teleport. They're keeping up the pressure.
And Xmithy has been having a very good playoffs thus far. That's another big play that he made, understanding that Bjergsen had no flash and instigating that fight with the body slam flash to just zero out Bjergsen plus get them the objective. This is actually even more than we were expecting out of CLG's early game. As far as the matchup is concerned, CLG is a little bit better than TSM in the early game, but they are crushing it in the first 14 minutes here.
Working together, making sure the roams are in their favor, catching people in transit already. They've done it to Bjergsen a few times, tried to get Wild Turtle in the top. CLG really holding on to the early part of this game. See if they can pressure that anymore. Already one dragon in their favor with 30 seconds into the next one. You were saying Nick Smithy doing very well. It seems like the team also follows him more on his engages. There's much more trust in that.
It's definitely why I keep highlighting the Echo and Gragas for him. Those are definitely his highest performing. Now, if we switch over to looking at it from TSM's side, though, they need to go into defense mode. They have to get their defensive warding, like we saw Team Liquid do yesterday so many times. Keep those sweepers up and the pink wards and try and keep vision in your own control. Zion's just going off.
He is playing with so much confidence right now. Look at the wards in the jungle. They don't exist right now for CLG. They're all TSM's wards, and he dashed through that entire minion wave to get her ass off. To speak to your point, though, Kobe, you can already see TSM setting up the defensive wards. That's why they have so many wards in the side of the top jungle, and also defensive wards towards the Dragon Pit. The Sightstone very early on Santorin is indicative of that play style as well. So very much trying to be in a turtle mode. It just means they're going to have to be giving up probably the next 2 or 3 dragons, though.
Yeah, what they're really looking for with that setup is to try and catch CLG in an over-aggressive rotation when they're moving across the map in the jungle. TSM still have good AoE that they could combo if Dyrus and Bjergsen can combine to get that CC lockdown. Then TSM could make a comeback inside a jungle fight. But barring that, CLG keeping up the pressure and stacking the dragons here well on their way.
Yeah, and you can see the per game averages there as well. CLG averaging 5 games less in their games. Sorry, 5 minutes less in their average game time. 5 minutes fewer, however you want to say it.
It's not
talking
a game.
myself
It's not a game for CLG. It's just
Either way, that's the style, the pace they're playing at right now. Already 2 dragons at the 16-minute mark. Pretty quick counter if they want to get up to 5 dragons, and already that pretty substantial gold lead.
Oh yeah, Zion actually going to go for that Trinity Force, maybe it looks like, with Yasuo, which has grown in popularity. Makes him a bit more durable.
And Dyrus has done a good job at getting himself kept up in CS. After that one death, he was able to stave off any more as well, so still could have some big teleports coming in for the team once that is up, but like you guys are saying, Zion Spartan full bore ahead for him, and Pole Belter 2-0 now with that needlessly large rod. He just got himself some lucidity boots. CLG's really starting to turn on. We'll see how they decide to use this. Right now, obviously, it's double lift in his own environment. That's the bot lane.
Yeah, CLG is trying to rotate, and once again, they're a couple of seconds ahead of TSM on this turret, so double lift is getting some free hits in. Max stack on his E there, takes half the turret down.
Yeah, a couple of seconds means half the turret there with Tristana. Yasuo keeping the pressure up top as well on Turtle. And now Zion does have teleport, so this could be a moment where CLG actually press a bit too far. This has been one big difference between the two teams. Even though TSM have said they want to take more risk and they want to be more aggressive, CLG are by far the more risk-loving team still. And when they have advantages like this, they continue to try and press them.
Yeah. Obviously with TSM in full stall mode right now, it's going to be absolutely on CLG to try and initiate. All flashes are up for TSM, which makes an initiation even harder, because generally TSM would be able to flash back near their Nexus turrets. So CLG now has acquired some deep wards, and they're really just pulling off a nice split push here. The danger of someone trying to stop this is if you're not together, one Grog Assault into a Yasuo means you're dead.
Trying to look at TSM's initiations as well, once they want it. 2 walls that are going to pretty much stop things from happening. A lot of damage is not going to get by, and for an Orianna, having your ball stopped short and not know what's going to happen immediately can mess up the entire fight.
Yeah, it's actually fairly difficult for TSM, to try and catch CLG.
Yeah.
Even if they do have a numbers advantage, it has to be a really good play from Dyrus to make it happen. And CLG are doing a good job working around the Gnar bar, giving him a lot of space when he goes Mega Gnar.
Yeah, I mean, CLG is still playing pretty aggressively here. It's a 5v4, and they're pushing TSM off their blue. Yasuo is in the top lane. Obviously, with teleport, it has to be respected, but it's a power play by CLG here. They're getting split push pressure on these side lanes, and they have been consistently chipping away on these turrets. Oh, Wild Turtle gets chunked down by Pobelter. This is going to be a fight.
The flash is up, the heal could be there. Glacial Fissure across the board. What a nice explosive cast, but everybody was actually out of position as well for the Monsoon from Lust Boy, so it does save some members on Team Solo Mid. Valiantly goes down to save the rest of the team, but that would have been a very big catch and some following turrets for CLG.
That pressure that you talked about, CLG doing a very good job of also being able to keep that up with the wards that they're trying to supplant in the jungle here. And CTSM, as they try and rotate through their own jungle, we've got a double KO in the AD carries in the bottom lane there.
Yeah, well, if first you don't succeed in killing Wild Turtle, trade your life, I guess. I mean, that's still probably in benefit of TSM getting the kill on a Kog'Maw at this point, since he can get backed up by the Janna shield and CLG being ahead anyway. Anytime you're anytime you're behind in a game, trading kills is beneficial for your team.
Oh, that was a jump that put Zion Spartan well within range of Dyrus. A bit of that added damage, making sure he can get, or he has to stay out of lane, and making sure that Gnar bar goes off as well. See a replay of that 1v1 in the bot lane.
Yeah, Doublelift knows there's no summoners on Wild Turtle.
Right in the minions.
It was right in a lot of minions. So the minions aided Wild Turtle there.
Doublelift not afraid. This is how the CLG TSM rivalry is supposed to go. Nobody backs down from the 1v1.
Well, that's the kind of stuff we would see from Doublelift in scrims, right? Jumping over the wall, rocketing somebody back to make plays.
And that's that. And that's that risk-loving style that I talked about. CLG by far much more risk-loving than TSM.
Yep.
And Doublelift showing it right there.
You get those moments a lot more from it. 20 minutes now on the clock, 6-1 here. CLG is holding their lead, but TSM steadily slowing it down, actually.
Yeah, and even though CLG has made some progress on the interior turrets of TSM, they haven't cleared and they haven't actually destroyed any of them yet. And now it actually looks like TSM is trying to get some preemptive poke in before the Dragon, because if CLG can start stacking and get this Dragon immediately, we'd be talking about 5 Dragons by 33 minutes, which is very within the bounds of crushing and winning the game. So TSM wants to start stopping this Dragon snowball sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and that chunk out on Smithy, he should be able to get back, heal, and return to the Dragon area almost in time, but he will not have his ultimate, because he threw the ultimate over that red wall to try and snag Turtle, knowing that he didn't have any summoners. Now it won't be up for the immediate fight. TSM going to try and take down an outer here.
Let's see, they're trying to put their foot down. CLG will definitely answer. A lot of members making their way to this turret.
Yeah, CLG does not have good setup here. They don't have wards in the Dragon Pit, and they're late to this turret.
Zion Spartan hasn't even been delivering damage, and he takes just about his full health bar. TSM's poke comp now coming out to play.
And they're taking some of that standing gold on the map. The outer turrets were holding a lot of the gold difference between the two teams. This is why TSM have been playing this style where they're very risk averse to try and huddle behind their tier 2, wait until they can group up and place their wards to reclaim that gold.
And what a stall that actually puts on 5th Dragon. CLG obviously still going to keep going for it, but TSM definitely buy themselves more ramp-up time to make sure that doesn't become a thing. Lost Boy finishes Talisman of Ascension as well for safety, or even a little bit of distance they want to close to keep that poke on.
Yeah, some pretty big item completions as well for CLG here. They've got their Magic Resist Aura already. Smithy rushing the Aegis of the Legion. Meanwhile, the key items for all their DPS members have hit their 2 item power spikes here. So CLG very well could try and force.
Yeah, CLG doesn't want to get themselves into another situation where TSM has set up first. That's how they got themselves into trouble there. They've lost their 5-0 Dragon chance. The 5th Dragon will now be delayed to around 39 minutes, and it's not even really on their radar right now since they're just sitting at 2. It is really about trying to get picks on the TSM team in which Yasuo and the rest of the high damage dealers can follow up. In a straight-on get poked by Nidalee and Kog'Maw for too long, TSM actually has a chance despite the gold discrepancy.
Yeah, that is the key. They can only use Braum Unbreakable to block some of the poke, and then they have to go. They have to be quick with their initiation and use the Yasuo combo.
A lot of things to go wrong here, especially if Smithy ult misses as well. Bjergsen hits a nice shockwave. Like you said, Jat, we already saw what happens when TSM is there first. Pretty much can telegraph the way that CLG is coming in. CLG, however, there first. TSM has the chance to back away safely.
They get the flash out, which is actually pretty big for Lustboy. He's been using it to reposition for good monsoons on Janna. And that would be one of their main disengage when CLG do go for the Yasuo combo. So it is an important flash that they just burned there. Smithy jumping over the wall.
Really pivotal moment in the game here. This is when CLG wants to get the picks in team fights. Dyrus just ran out of Mega Gnar, so if CLG does find a fight, that's not the ult they wanted.
The Talisman of Ascension put Lustboy and Santorin just in the right spot. Now jockeying for position in lane instead of brush to lane. This fight may not happen. If it goes on like this for a little bit longer, it's just going to be wave clearing until somebody makes a mistake.
Yasuo charged.
Already down to half. Very close by that Javelin as well.
Yeah, even with the wind wall and the Braum shield, some of the spears are still flying through for Santorin. Unless they get that clean initiation, you can see the struggle with Santorin being able to sustain up any little bit of damage CLG does to TSM. So TSM holding pretty strong here, and CLG need to find that dream engage, and that definitely was not it right there.
Well, they don't want to give up their ward coverage over the Baron area either, and TSM have cornered themselves in CLG territory. Looks like they will walk out. Got 3 here. Little bit of harass on the exit.
And dance around them enough to take that top turret, and everything will be kind of all right from standing in the mid lane. They're buying time. They're getting gold. They're going to be getting more stats in the end. Turtle approaching the turret. Gets a nice storm shield. Looks like they will be able to drop this one after having a stalemate in the mid. TSM do make it work here without really having anything to go for it. They go for a top turret.
All right, well, they have evened up the turrets, but CLG still with a healthy lead. Dyrus in the river here comes up to dissuade CLG from their pursuit.
That's the thing, though. That healthy lead almost needs to be healthier.
It does, because they hit their item power spikes a few minutes ago.
Right.
The Aegis of the Legion and Trinity Force that Kobe touched on. The CLG really did want to fight in his last 2 minutes, and now Bjergsen, without his death cap, was able to rotate and get the turrets, but he just completed the death cap, so Orianna is coming online. Blade of the Ruined King is soon for Wild Turtle. Dyrus is even close to his Black Cleaver, which is a very critical item for Gnar, especially in the split push. The turtling has worked out very well for TSM since this early 6 kills that CLG picked up.
Yeah, speaking of Turtle, he's almost completing his Blade of the Ruined King too, so they'll probably wait a little bit longer until he can actually get his second item.
He was doing some big damage to Zion Spartan alone before they took that bottom tier turret. So Turtle definitely trying to walk up close for a few shots, may get himself into trouble here if it cannot be protected by Bjergsen and Lost Boy. A lot of things can go wrong for both teams in these fights. And right now, Chronologic Gaming seems like they're a little too worried about that with their lead. They could probably be pressuring a few more things here. Scuttle going over to Team Solo mid. They start to control more and more of the map to make things easier for themselves.
Yeah, I'm very curious if Zion and CLG returning to a split push with him will be able to get pressure on that bottom turret. Because they did get a lot of work done on it before with double lift, and he took it to half, you know, a good couple minutes ago.
Yeah,
but they haven't been able to keep up the pressure.
Even the turret in the top side, Zion Spartan had a little bit of time on that. I think that's around half health as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like CLG wasn't making progress, but that progress has definitely been halted. They're back to the 1-3-1 split push. Honestly, Team Solomid's initiation is pretty low as far as their ability to force fights. So the 1-3-1 in the split push is more upon CLG's style, and then they can then force collapses off of that.
They have. Question answered. Dyrus seen in the river, so Zion Spartan's going to take that turret, and CLG get their first tier 2.
Yeah, it's all about forcing the off-numbered fights, because when TSM has more people, it's actually very difficult for them to force fights on CLG. CLG has all the disengage as well with the Gragas ultimate, and they're just really going to try and out-rotate and collapse. I like that CLG is back to the turret-taking game.
Took him a bit there. I was wondering. Teleport had been up for a while, but they did not want Team Solomid to just rush down middle and take control of the game. Played it correctly, still in the lead now. Dragon is also alive and going to need some ward coverage.
CLG going to keep pressure on Baron, though.
Or maybe not.
Hoping that TSM do not come in check. Hold your breath.
There's the TP. It's going to be halfway up, so he knows they need to get there in time. Talisman of Ascension. It's going to be enough to push them off. Baron about 4,000 health.
Ooh, Smithy at about 30% life as well.
Yeah, Smithy took a lot of damage on Baron. I wonder if CLG, because they're so frustrated of not finding a fight, would be willing to engage. It would have to be a great Gragas ultimate to prompt a fight here from CLG.
And it would have to been while Dyrus was exhausted. He couldn't charge up his Narbar again, but they waited out that timing. And now it's just CLG.
I feel like this could still happen. Very low mana for Bjergsen. He's right now in this fight. Zion Spartan getting hit. Over the wall. Chaos Storm is absolutely shredding Team Solomid. They took this fight with 0 mana on Bjergsen, and they're forced to run back to the base.
Pole Belter landed Chaos Storm and Death Ray on 3 people and nearly won the fight single-handedly. If any of the other initiation would have landed for CLG, that would have been a fight. But as it stands, no one on TSM is down, and CLG is still on the Baron.
Dyrus with the rest of them. No, Lustboy, Bjergsen, yeah, Wild Turtle approaches. Santorin here now. These guys are depleted in resources, but still trying their damnedest to stop this Baron. 30 minutes in, Counter Logic Gaming is thwarted once again as they try for it. Pink Ward can't clear. Too much Baron aggro. Aframu still checking for security purposes.
Both teams come away bloody, but still alive here. Baron actually could start taking people down if they trigger it. Couple of wards being placed back up, and who got back to heal? Zion did get back to heal. He has teleport available. They know they have teleport advantage. CLG trying to use this teleport advantage.
Yeah, Zion with home guards comes in from the flank. Oh, goodbye.
Zion!
So you have to think, we've been here over 30 seconds. Somebody has an idea by now, and Zion had it.
Yeah, it's all about the pressure discrepancy, and CLG is trying to drive this home, but they are really pressing their luck here. Smithy's been below half health for about a minute and a half. Baron is going down. No Kog'Maw for this fight.
This is a very dangerous steal, too.
Santorin.
Yeah.
He's got his eye on it.
Oh, my goodness.
Baron.
Smithy's too low to smite.
Yeah, they have
4,800 HP. Santorin's still on the other side of the wall. He wants it, but Smithy's going down before he can even smite, so you're right. They have to back off.
That's a ward. Woo.
2 minutes now. Both teams have attempted this Baron. I think we're finally going to get to take a breather here. They back off. Going to get base. See what items we can get after this.
All right, so game 1, pretty exciting so far, I'm willing to say.
Delivering.
Even though there's only 8 kills in the 31 minutes here, it has been very, very high pressure. Pole Belter with his death cap completed now. If TSM doesn't get an Aegis or a lock at any time soon, that Chaos Storm and Death Ray, instead of taking 3 people low, is going to kill 3 people straight out.
And let's talk a little bit about Pole Belter for CLG, because all split long, every time he gets an interview, he wants to talk about how he's going to prove himself as a top North American mid laner. During the regular season, he was not able to best Bjergsen. This is his chance to make his case.
Absolutely.
At Madison Square Garden, in the finals, take down Bjergsen.
In a year
and
where
he's beating him right now.
In a year where he's also had a decent team as well to go along with the entire season this time, right?
Yeah. This is his first split in the playoffs.
Yep.
And he's 3-0 here in his first game.
Yeah, it's so fitting that he's now finally on CLG, because people have been talking about Pole Belter's potential for years. He started playing at such a young age, he wasn't even available to join.
The epitome of potential.
Yeah.
It's everything. We'll see what he does with that 3-0 potential in this game. Those City Boots keep him spamming out that DPS. See Dyrus finishing up the Black Cleaver as well. Gonna get a little bit of damage out of him now. See if he can help the team.
That's a big
Winter's Bite onto Bjergsen. 3-man Shockwave. Where's the answer? TSM is not in the right position to get the attacks on the priority targets. It's CLG that's able now to push them right over in their own command Shockwave engage. Zion Spartan and Double Lift cleaning up the crew. The janitorial duty onto Dyrus. That's going to go over to Pobelter. No, it's a triple kill for Double Lift.
CLG completely cleans house, and it all started with the Braum Q onto Bjergsen. When that happened, the rest is CLG piled on.
The Afro Boot initiation is so important for these guys, and CLG actually had the follow-up this time. They got it, and they're going to get the Baron after the ace.
Yeah, this is the turning point CLG has been playing around Baron for the last 8 minutes for. Finally, when TSM is just meandering in the mid lane, CLG was able to punish with a really crisp team fight. Good target focus and great follow-up.
Yeah, they don't have to overextend for these turrets either. Those turrets will fall very quickly to CLG once they return.
Yeah, well, basically they lock onto Bjergsen. As soon as they land the slow, everyone goes on to him.
Move.
Like, he knows with the slow he can line up the ultimate, and Bjergsen's flash is down from the previous fight. So it was curtains. As soon as he landed that first spell, everyone on CLG knew to pile on.
They were all on the same page there. Zion immediately follows up. Pobelter flashes in for the extra damage to secure the kill within the knock-up duration, and there's no response possible from TSM. They have to scatter.
Not very often you find TSM this late in the game not ready to even participate in a fight. They were all in scatter mode. Definitely something that they need to repair coming into the last moments of this game, because CLG may be able to bring it inside the base very soon.
And a Baron buff team with Tristana now against a team that can't wave clear these minions super quickly. These could very well be inhibitors going down, especially if they get some split pushing and a fight, maybe even the game. The ultimates are all close to being back up for CLG, and when they are, they could very well go for a dive and a game-winning play.
Yeah, we heard Bjergsen at the beginning of this game. CLG and the games have been very close that they've been playing recently. You cannot put anything past Pobelter in the mid lane or the rest of the members of CounterLogic Gaming. Definitely showing up here in Game 1 of the NALCS Summer Finals. This turret may fall the minion wave a little too far behind, with this being a Baroned up siege minion.
Next wave. If CLG really wants it, they can push in with the next wave.
Deny resources and walk it back in. It looks like they will.
Now the question will be whether or not TSM decides to initiate on this. Basically, Bjergsen would have to leave the Orianna ball out and try and land a sitting shockwave.
That's right there.
The ability to manipulate is really hard.
They're going all in on this turret. They use the Solari active there and take it down.
Nice push by CLG.
CLG now opening up the base. Been able to snowball Baron an early game by Xmithy, as well as Zion Spartan in the top lane, paying off well.
Yeah, very important poke landing from Pobelter as well with the early Luden's Echo there, chunking out the front line. Dyrus is the main initiation. It's all about a big play from him for TSM. If Pobelter chunks him low enough before the fights, they can't go in. Xmithy, though, he's the one getting taken out, and CLG are the one with the low front line.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's getting a little dicey. CLG already got the one inhibitor down, so they'd be a little greedy to stay longer. They know they have such a big advantage right now. It also doesn't appear like anyone on TSM is going to build Aegis at this point. This doesn't fit on Santorin unless Boy's going for a Zeke's Harbinger as well. So unless Gnar builds it, Pobelter is going to continue to destroy them.
Victor pick as well. Did not come up till the end of the season. We saw the Victor pick in the Liquid tiebreaker and then in a game against Impulse. This was a regular season for Pobelter, so to bring this out now might be throwing TSM for a loop as well.
Zion gonna look for a play when the minions get here and he can dash to them.
Yeah, there's the stun out.
Narbar as well, half going down. Pobelter already on the roam up. Should be able to make it with all the crowd control coming through.
Good night.
And Pobelter reigns on Dyrus's parade once more in the top lane. 30 seconds on what could be Dragon number 4 for CLG.
CLG's so close to beating TSM for the first time since week 2 of the 2014 summer split. It has been over a year since CLG has been able to take a competitive game off of TSM.
Yeah.
13 kills to 2, 11,000 gold, 3 Dragons to 1. They look in position to do so right now.
Look back to those days when it was the rivalry. If we can still get it again, it's going to be within these games.
Double Lift's not even there. That's 4 members of CLG making a dive.
Double Lift is waddling his way over right now, and TSM really not engaging. They're just trying to stay safe. Dyrus, 4 seconds should be up to help stop this turret, but I don't think they're going to leave. There's minions on the Nexus turret.
No Baron buff, but at the same time, Bjergsen has to respect the initiation so heavily that he can't necessarily clear the wave. So nice turret take by CLG.
Dyrus, be careful of how confident he's feeling right now. He runs in, already half HP, does have the home guards on, so he can be right back in the battle once he makes the fountain. It looks like this inhibitor is going down, though. CLG is able to continue pushing back Team Solo Mid, not allowing any of that offense to come through from them. And they're going to get this inhibitor.
2 inhibitors down.
What a solid game for Logic Gaming.
They have been playing very clean. There was one minor misstep when they had a lead and gave up a dragon, but aside from that, CLG has just been doing everything they can to destroy TSM. The last 2 picks, Yasuo and Victor, getting kind of the element of surprise on the blue side of champion select is also really valuable, plus the play. Also, Doublelift buffers his rocket jump to get out of the shockwave and not die. Dyrus is dead again.
Dyrus getting soloed out in that top lane so quick. Just like the wind, Zion Spartan takes him down fast, 14-2. Coming up onto 40 minutes, CLG looking to put a few final touches on this game. They may be spreading themselves a bit too thin with the HP bars, but they pull it back, and they start to play it consistent, and they may have the Nexus.
There's no shockwave up. There's no real way for TSM to initiate, but Bjergsen
Turtle with the shot. That's one for him. He's already got a Nexus turret as well. Or Doublelift, I should say. Turtle now running for the fountain. Turtle goes down, Doublelift with another one. Game 1 coming up 39 minutes in. Very convincing from Logic Gaming as they take out Team Solo Mid in the finals. We got more games.
Huge first win for CLG right here. They are the higher seed coming into this. They had the first round bye in the playoffs and now moved to actually 4-0 in the playoffs. So they have been on a hot streak for quite some time. But as we know, TSM often drops the first games in a best-of-5 series, so this one is far from over.
This is TSM as well. We're seeing Bjergsen play a lot more of this utility lately and then sometimes switch back to some offense. Maybe this was the utility for them. They still have some ideas up their sleeve because honestly, the Yasuo pick, the Victor pick, we definitely saw CLG had something up their sleeve there.
Yeah, it was a great draft phase there from CLG. They were able to get the surprise factor against TSM with their top lane counter pick, and in the end it did work out for them. But there were other problems. Doublelift was able to rotate very quickly with his Tristana, which CLG have used over and over and over to get the early lead with the turrets that they used to keep up that pressure. All that mid-game pressure that we saw was sort of a domino effect.
It was such a crazy game. I can't wait for the next ones to come up. Final word.
I mean, we've talked about it a bit before, but TSM has had troubles in the past adapting to a pick that they were not expecting. So the Yasuo top here from Zion Spartan, even though he practiced it a bunch, was a surprise to most when he picked it out here in the first game. And he had a great game, 4-0-6. Everything in the team composition was leading up to being a setup for Yasuo, and CLG executed it just right.
Well, we're going to get a deep dive on this game by throwing it over to the Anna's Lounge. Team Solo Mid takes to the blue side as we go into picks and bans. Knowing that Olaf would be there, as well as the Azir.
Yeah, TSM with a first ban Callista as well. Looks like Logic Gaming's probably going to be banning Azir the whole series at this point. Maokai is maybe at, until TSM takes a game off CLG, CLG's not going to deviate from their bans. They had the same bans in pretty much all their games against Team Impulse, and it looks like they're doing that here as well.
Great pickup in Alistar. This still leaves Braum open. We saw the John play last game as well. Logic Gaming doesn't have to pick that yet, though. Go ahead and get what they want for top.
This will give a lot more power to Lustboy for those high-impact roams early on, and we'll see if he can actually use this, because this is Alistar is pretty much the best tool that you can possibly have for early game roaming around. Afromove definitely has not shied away from Braum, though.
Nope.
We picked that one up.
It's been a while since we've seen Lustboy make lots and lots of plays, bubbling people on Nami and doing crazy things, but Alistar is definitely something he can get dirty and down with. See what CLG has on their side. Feeling pretty good about the last game. May not have to show anything if they want to get a like composition. The Gragas will still be there for Xmithie, so he continues to run that champion consecutively pretty much in the jungle. Along with that Echo, and they'll get Jinx for Doublelift.
Yeah, it's the next best turret-killing champion. Second to Tristana here for Doublelift, but it's much less versatile. I mean, in his games on Jinx, he definitely seems to die more because he's still somewhat in the Triss style, but he's just not nearly as elusive. Especially against Alistar, depending on how much dive TSM picks, this could be a very dangerous game for Doublelift.
See what TSM will do. We did see Ezreal towards the end of the season. Still definitely an option for these guys if they want to go for it, but the picks they have been going for shy away from that.
It is also a good thing about Gragas. He's extremely flexible. They don't have to use his ultimate as an offensive tool trying to set up something like Yasuo. It is a form of disengage for Jinx, and they could try and top that with Janna as well. TSM are the ones who go for the other very big Cinder Hulk team fighting jungler, though, and they're the ones to grab Echo this time around.
Yeah, early on from the team solo mid composition here, it is looking much more team fight focused. 2 to 3 frontline champions is kind of the standard for just big, powerful team fight teams, especially when you get a high damage AD carry in the backline. And Bjergsen would theoretically be on a high damage dealer as well here.
Yeah, plus the front line that TSM have chosen, I really like this against Jinx. They're very hard to get resets on. Alistar being able to pop the ultimate, and Echo as well can go back in time. They want to try and deny Doublelift the reset.
Definitely taking their time, down to 10 seconds here on the clock, making sure they also cause Team Solo Mid to think quickly about their picks if they haven't already thought of the order.
I actually like those 2 picks from CLG. They're pretty much picture perfect for what they're trying to accomplish. Victor would have fit very well into the TSM team composition, and they also need extra peel for Doublelift since he can't peel for himself.
Right.
Yep, that's what I was looking for. They doubled down on it with the Gragas plus Janna. Now Yasuo is a counter pick top. It's not good.
Well, this would most likely be mid if they were to play it. They would blind. They would pick this into Victor if they decide to go for Yasuo.
Slow thought for the lock-in. We saw both. Saw basically every champion that's been hovered yesterday.
Yeah. Yasuo a comp of their own.
Yeah, if you have just a little bit of damage on your Malphite and you ult the Jinx, it's just instant death from the Malphite and Yasuo combined.
Janna and Gragas are both already there. They have to be careful and work around
This
those.
is a Yasuo comp. Top lane Nautilus.
Definitely.
Gonna go for the on-point ultimate. Depth charge will definitely get a target coming in for Yasuo to knock up. Braum still up on the board here if they want to get another tank wall in.
You know, Shen is also still available.
That's right.
CLG have 2 disengages. It's very risky. What's a possibility?
Sion Spartan gets to pick whatever he wants up against Nautilus. You would honestly kind of expect something more standard. Olaf is banned, so maybe the Gnar.
Yeah, the thing is, it's really hard to peel Yasuo engages, so having Gnar be able to get an AoE stun off.
Yep.
Yeah, I honestly feel like what CLG will be trying to do in a standard team fight here is when Yasuo does go in, because he's inevitably going to be able to get his ultimate off on Nautilus ult, whoever he clicks on, is to just throw the Gragas barrel right into the rest of the team. Isolate Bjergsen and kill him for initiating. I think that's the plan that CLG wants to try to accomplish, because I think with these team comps, unless Sion Spartan gets tremendous split pushing potential, we're going to be seeing some big team fights.
Yeah, we saw the change. We see the change from Team Solo Mid here. That's not a utility mid lane for Bjergsen now. The carry pants are on for Bjergsen this game. Much different there. Something Team Solo Mid relied on quite a bit in the past is for Bjergsen to always get going with a little bit damage, a little bit more damage, I should say, across the map. It's not all on him, but he's got a pretty big job to do this game.
Yeah, definitely have my eyes on this matchup. Pobelter did very well in game number 1. Bjergsen gets the counter pick this time around, though.
So as we make our way into game, you know what to do. Make sure you get your way over to Twitter. Hashtag TSM win, hashtag CLG win at LOL Esports. This is going to be an amazing series. Game 1 has already delivered. We had the Baron fight back and forth for 2.5 minutes, which is telling me that these teams are not gating themselves through pressure situations. They're ready to go in, and they're not being risk averse here.
And CLG really crushed it in game 1. We were wondering if they were going to be able to transition their win streak into this series here, especially when the pressure is multiplied and amplified by the Madison Square Garden crowd and the stage of the NA Finals. But no, they were completely sound, played very smart and aggressive, which is even more impressive when you consider the environment they are under.
That's right, here we go. Game 2. The MSG environment now for Counter Logic Gaming and Team Solo Mid. We're on the Rift. We'll see what TSM can do to put themselves back in this series.
I like what Lesboy has done also. He's starting with the coin. Everyone always sees Alistar go with the extra health from Targons, but I love the really quick build path into extra move speed for him. And it will definitely pay off early.
Yep, and even though Team Solo Mid have been shaking up their play style, CLG still see Bjergsen as a major threat.
TSM's kind of been evolving their style. Like, they're proving that, hey, you know, we don't need to revolve on Bjergsen to win. Dyrus can play carries too. They put him on Olaf, and it's really great to see that they're just not limiting themselves to one strategy. And Bjergsen, of course, will always be that big threat, especially in tournament play. He's proven time and time again he's one of the best mid laners in the West, the best mid laner in NA, and he's definitely not someone you can underestimate.
Even when Bjergsen is on Lulu, not only is he the defining component of the way that the team plays, but he also still did the majority of the team's damage. Yeah, and the play style change he's talking about with Dyrus being able to bring out different champions, simply having the Olaf ban for himself as well on top of the Rumble leaves that Maokai, that Gnar open now that he can have a nice top lane on. So things work out very nicely there in that situation. We'll see how this mid lane goes. There's been a few auto attacks back and forth for love taps, but nobody's gotten any summoner spells out as we would think. Yeah. Exhaust for Pobelter and exhaust for Bjergsen.
And if we kind of just go back through the TSM lineage with Bjergsen, when they're most successful, it's when Bjergsen is actually on a playmaker. During their slump disc split, it was him kind of relying on long-range poke champions, AP Ezreal, AP Kog'Maw. So him now being on Yasuo with a lot of setup for that is kind of the ideal way for TSM to play.
Right, more revolve around you instead of you revolving around making the plays.
Yeah, it's also going to be an interesting test because while Yasuo can set up his own big plays, the most effective way is when his teammates set him up. And it's going to require communication with Lesboy, which has been one of the big talking points throughout this summer split. Even on their YouTube show or whatever they like to shoot, it's always a point that comes up. There's Lesboy's communication with the rest of the team on his initiations. This comp will test that.
Yeah, absolutely. Lesboy is brought on the team. There was a huge advantage to their mid-game vision. And then things changed. Lesboy's communication fell off, and the vision was pretty much what stuck. Still an amazing support. Now in the finals with Team Solomon.
CLG going for an incredibly early turret pushing strategy. Jinx with minigun is probably the best turret taker early game for AD carry. Also, Janna and Gnar are two very potent turret takers as well. But now TSM is rotated down, and there will be Wild Turtle getting free farm in the top lane on Kog'Maw, and CLG may not be able to continue the push on this.
Yeah, they weren't able to pull it off quick enough. Even with the Janna shield adding AD to the very quick attack speed of Jinx, TSM do slip in with their three-man defense, and they didn't take any chances. They waited for everybody to be there before they tried to move in under the turret. So no blood was shed, no turret dives gone for there. Basically, it's just the teleport difference now. Zion Spartan using his to reposition up top. Dyrus will have an extra cooldown, an extra base that he can use, so maybe he will put himself in a more dangerous situation and grab some more CS this way, and then try and rely on it to get back to lane. Otherwise, we may see one of those deep wards trying to pull off a dive. Alistar already headed top as Zion goes for the invade on blue. He's got to be careful.
He can't stick along.
Lesboy's roaming.
Cannot stick around for long because he knows he's completely outnumbered on this side of the map. Not to mention, Xmithy is currently counter-jumping the other side, so he knows pretty much where TSM would be.
Looking at Bjergsen too. It's just a mini Gnar level 3 though.
Yeah. He's trying to kill time right now because he doesn't necessarily have his own farm. Exhaust burn though, nice stuns!
Wow! He's gonna use, oh my god, he used Zion Spartan to dash too, but they had the peace of mind to throw a few autos out. Take down Bjergsen in the mid lane. Pobelter has been playing so clean already early to get his health to that point.
CLG is really far ahead on these rotations as well because TSM did leave Dyrus with a very low turret. CLG could zone him off and get the turret as well as the first blood. Yeah. So really just a monstrous first 5 minutes here for CLG.
It's exactly what Double said they wanted to change. Those first minutes of the game, and they absolutely have within the first two of the series.
And again, they focus Bjergsen. Last game, they have a Yasuo comp to be able to kill him immediately in team fights. This time, he's on Yasuo, the melee champion who will extend far up into the lane.
Kill him immediately
and they converge from both sides with the early game gank to try and get him behind. 2 times in a row, CLG with a very good plan coming into the game.
Yeah. And when CLG has been at their best winning games, it has often been through great early game plays and execution. The knock on them has been that they can't do that versus good teams, because the good teams would find ways to stop it.
Right.
Well, now, they're in the finals of the North American LCS. They are undefeated in playoffs, and they are still pulling off good early game plans against these teams. So credit to CLG for sticking with what works and refining their strategies over time.
Definitely helped to have that slump in the middle. Those were the teams they played against, was the top teams, Liquid, TSM, Gravity, Impulse. That slump they had allowed them to kind of have all the takeaways that were necessary to make these things happen. Put Zion Spartan rather, on some different carry champions and start to spread the team a little better over DPS.
The craziest thing is that sending 3 people mid from CLG to get that early lead on Bjergsen didn't cost them anything.
They were so far ahead in the rotation game. I mean, this is also something that has plagued TSM in a lot of their games, is they sometimes concede too much in the early game and aren't necessarily making the plays. Everything about TSM's early game was reactive. They had to react to Doublelift pushing the bottom lane, and then they had to reactively leave Dyrus down bottom, and eventually Bjergsen ended up falling too far behind and getting to death.
Oh, Dyrus.
That's a lot of minions.
Moving in, looks like he tried to get as much damage as he could before heading out. Looks like he'll be able to just waltz out of this one without any more pressure coming down. He had Zion Spartan pretty low on HP, but...
Well, he has no turret. He's
so
definitely
far.
hoping to burn a flash, but Dyrus can just anchor away.
Ever so slowly. 7 minutes on the clock here. Bjergsen 44-46 against Belter in the mid lane. Those two, it's just actually Pole Belter that has had to use exhaust in their previous engagement, so they may use that against him. We're seeing the 2v2, however, now in the top with Santorin going hard on Echo. Doublelift just to take a bit of lane damage. That was a flash pulverize, meaning they have more time with Doublelift just outside turret range. Choppers on to Santorin. He's down to 220 HP. It's going to be the teleports in. Zion Spartan absolutely scrapes the floor with Santorin, throwing him against the wall. Lost Boy has to exit with the rest of the team stage left.
Those flame choppers. It's not done yet, though. Both mid laners roaming up.
Zion Spartan had about a half second of Mega Gnar left by the time he came into that one, and he got the kill by smashing Santorin into the wall. That also looked like a bit of miscommunication by TSM. It looked like Santorin was willing to say no thank you to the gank, and that's when Lustboy flashed into the turret. We just talked about TSM having the communication test and whether everyone would be on the same page as Lustboy. It definitely did not appear to be the same page for TSM there.
For a second, though, it did look like, no, this is going to be okay, but that's where the communication goes wrong, when one person has that thought and the others don't. Let's see it one more time.
All right, so there's the big chunk. After that, Santorin's ready to go out of tower range.
Yeah. Santorin only turned after Lustboy had flashed in, so that was very much looking like a play that Lustboy just made, and then the rest of TSM had to react to.
His parallel convergence also left a small bit of ground between the wall, and then walking up into that one flame chomper. Poorly executed there.
Yeah. And now they're left with a 2,000 gold deficit, already down a turret, no real way to answer it, and they are not in position to take this dragon because Santorin suffered a death and is now very far behind X-Micking the jungle. This is a disastrous early game for Team Solo mid, and honestly, with the way CLG closed the first one, you got to be getting a little nervous here for TSM. Real chance of going down 0-2 here.
The Zion Spartan was the guy to get going last time on the Yasuo. 2-0 Gnar already. Dragon's going to go down sub 10 minutes over the side of CLG. One turret is already there, so they can start to work a different lane with Doublelift.
Yeah, as much as CLG lost early game in the last semifinals, during the regular season they were among the best.
Yeah.
Returning to form here. And Poe Belter able to pick up the blue. Now his wave clear is going to go into overdrive.
Yeah. It's going to be very difficult for Bjergsen to do anything but farm in that mid lane. Unless he gets a gank assist, but Santorin is rather weak right now, so the gank assist wouldn't be that strong.
Something reminiscent for them. Going a little bit too aggressive, continuing to put them behind is something they do not want to do. It's happened in the past. Dyrus taking good damage from Zion. doesn't actually receive any either, so he's slowly just winning this lane continuously.
Yeah, CLG, they need to work off this because both of the kills, the first blood cash as well as the second one, going to Zion, this is the point of power that you want to work on. When you get one member this far ahead of his lane opponent, you want to help that person out by giving them wards, plus also picking fights near that person's lane. That's what the junglers usually gravitate towards, the winning lane, so that they can also feed off of that advantage.
All right, Counter Logic Gaming setting up a little bit of defense now on their side of the map. They do still want to make plays, but they want to make sure TSM doesn't have any way to get their foot in the door and get themselves back in. A 2K gold lead can still swing any way with the way these games have been going. So it's up to CLG here to keep this one on the up and up. Pobelter doing a great job in the mid lane once again on Victor. Just getting another comfort pick. Played it the first game. Same with Smithy. They're getting champions they feel comfortable on right now.
Well, specifically because Pobelter has been able to get to his Hex Core upgrade so easily, he's now just repetitively shoving Bjergsen in, which just gives the rest of CLG so much freedom to set up deep wards. Pobelter pushes the wave in. They know exactly where Bjergsen is because he has to catch the wave of this turret. Pobelter then roams down to help Xmithy and Zion, who are getting deep wards within the jungle. It is just a well-executed early game based off of their early lead.
And it's very difficult to punish that playstyle from Pobelter when their jungler is Echo without ward control. If Echo doesn't have the Fog of War advantage to throw parallel convergence with from beforehand, it's very hard for him to go in and make a play and try and combine with Bjergsen. Unless Bjergsen's going to charge his own knockup and set it up himself.
And the turret right there was the fruit of CLG's labor. They had the deep wards, so they knew that Santorin wasn't coming from that side. They also knew that Yasuo has poor wave clear, especially before Static Shiv, and they very smartly rotate to take the mid lane turret. CLG is playing a spectacular first 12 minutes of game 2 here.
Really making things work in their favor, spreading that gold lead to just about 3,000 now, with only being able to take down that mid turret, but push the waves. Still no kills yet as Team Solo Mid plays a bit safer here in their aggression that they're using to get to the turret. Not past the turret though. They don't want to go for a dive this time.
Teleport about to come off of cooldown here for Zion.
That
and
roam.
CLG look like they're looking to make a play.
Pobelter's going to beat Bjergsen in the roam up the river unless they match up 1v1.
He's gonna be mega.
Howling Gale comes through. Oh my gosh, Zion Spartan. A beautiful hop over the team, throwing Lustboy back. The focus now onto Pobelter. Monsoon coming in from Afro, may save Belter. Flashes out of that one alive, can still laser from the outside. And it looks like Team Solo Mid dropping like flies here. Back onto Pobelter. He may live, but no. He goes down to the riptide of Dyrus. Everybody is giving their last ounce in this fight, and Team Solo Mid actually comes out on top, dipping, dodging, and diving around the auto attacks. The skill shots. Bjergsen may have to give up the final fight, but 4 are down to the 2 of TSM.
He's got the knockup. If he misses,
that could be the pressure that he wants. Gets his cooldown. The boomerang. The boomerang is not caught from the wind wall. Bjergsen does not have a dash though. And as they go toe to toe, they must tiptoe back out of the fight.
Here we go.
Super mega death rocket.
Timer.
In 3, 2, 1. Misses out just underneath.
he's no turtle.
Doesn't even cancel his recall. Who cares? Wasn't gonna hit him anyway. Honestly, though, what a bloodbath that fight was. CLG not willing to take the safe turret for TSM. They did not want to give this one up, so they go in before Zion is alive, so he can't teleport in quite yet. And they also don't have a ward behind, so he has to really commit in order to get disengaged. From here as well, both mid laners roam, so we got a 5v5 on our hands.
Yeah, Lustboy had nothing left after that. The pulverized used as he was knocked in by Smithy's barrel. But then Bjergsen came with the roam up, and the Yasuo did a lot of work. He zones Pobelter out of the fight, but Pobelter trying to get back in and help the rest of the team only led to his own death.
Gank on Turtle.
They want a little something back here. Chopper's down. Oh my word, he may be able to take out double lift. You have to be absolutely kidding me.
Didn't even need the passive for it, so he got experience.
Hashtag things that should not happen.
Speaking of Kog'Maw, he gets a little stronger once he has Trinity Force.
You could say that
a
again.
little bit.
That was strong intent from CLG. They wanted to give the kill over to Doublelift, but boy did they underestimate the damage of Wild Turtle. He landed all of his spells straight there, and Turtle picking up a kill in a 1v3 is tremendous for TSM to come back in this game.
That's why you never run away from a fight. Stand your ground. If you're surrounded, 3
If you
vs.
know
1.
you're going down, why
Never give
not?
up.
Fight
Never surrender.
valiantly.
Fight till the end.
I like it. So that Triforce definitely giving Turtle the power he needed to come up in a 3v1 with his own kill. That's got to feel good for him. Going down or not, that feels good. He knows he has the ability to take out Doublelift very quick and can do so with the right positioning in the following fight. Dragons live, that fight may be right now, 15 minutes in. TSM have finally, within these 2 games, started to pull themselves back in. Still anybody's matchup here.
Yeah, and due to the bloodbath that was the fight in the top lane, there's a lot of summer spells still on cooldown here. So if Smithy gets a good displacement with his Gragas ultimate, there's pretty much no one who can flash to safety except for Santorin, who has both his ultimate and his flash up.
TSM should be able to cut them off here and get some of the gold back. Top turret left alone there with Zion, though.
Yeah, and there's actually a teleport advantage right here for TSM, so Zion Spartan would have to get some really strong turret pressure. This actually could be a situation where CLG really just wants to trade a top turret for the Dragon, but either way, it really appears like TSM is going to pull some type of advantage off this one if they play their cards right, with the teleport advantage and by taking the bottom outer.
Yeah, Dyrus backed away for a time. It looks like he's going to head back up there as TSM do go for that Dragon.
Should be able to stop pressure on the top side. Riptide that minion out, and
they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. TSM wants to stop the turret while taking Dragon. Here comes Yasuo.
And that teleport can follow after as well if there is a resulting fight. That's going to be the ulti. There's the last breath.
Oh, done!
Absolutely incredible from Zion Spartan. Beautiful plays across the board. His turret may go down. He actually may be able to get a nice wallop here, right inside the turret range. He is just playing with fire right now.
Here comes the Jinx Rocket, and the rest of CLG are coming in.
Just misses. The Chaos Storm is going to finish him off, though. Bjergsen being held now by Aframu. The turret's low enough to take it down after a fight. Do they have what it takes? Bjergsen diving back and forth with the dashes, but he could not get the right target.
Spartan with the ridiculous 2-versus-1 outplay, channeling the wallop right as he gets knocked up so that Bjergsen can't ult during the knockup.
Zion Spartan, the only member of CLG to play in an NALCS final. He did it back with Coast against TSM in the first split ever in 2013. And his Gnar play right there to stun Bjergsen as he would walk up during the duration of the knockup. So he buffers right here once he becomes Mega Gnar. As he was turning Mega to stop Bjergsen, gets back on the ground so the Oswald can't go for him. Gnarls backwards to delay, and then he gets cheeky here. He stuns them in the turret because he knows he has backup coming.
The sidestep was 100% necessary as well.
Absolutely
Both the knockup and the hook dodge buys so much time for the cavalry to arrive, and CLG off to an amazing start here for the second game.
Aframu also smartly tanks the turret under his ultimate, so the rest of the team can assist with damage.
Already got that Zeke's on the build as well. Bringing in the damage for Doublelift once he is able to finish that item. Where are they going to head with this? Here, parallel convergence go out. Won't be a dash over the wall. Not enough distance for Santorin. They also did not have the follow-up. Bjergsen, however, looks like he may want to start a fight. Pole Belter is on the roam up here. Teleports up for Zion, up for Dyrus, and they're going to go 1v1 again.
I mean, he's got his Black Cleaver, so he's actually very threatening on Gnar here.
Top turret could go down. Looks like that pressure is going to happen. I don't think TSM kill. No, they will. Actually push back on this. Pole Belter gets a laser through the entire team. The Chaos Storm is also doing a ton of damage. That's going to be Santorin going down. He flashes out just at the right time. Oh! It takes down Bjergsen. Just misses to Santorin, but he still goes down. CLG has fights on either side of them. They're just trying to choose which one. They may have gotten themselves in a real bad spot. Turtle with double buffs, able to come up huge in the end.
Zion canceled his teleport, then later Dyrus got out of range of an interrupt and teleported for himself. That's a big game changer in that fight that looked like Doublelift was going to reset City to get all the kills. Turtle picking up a double kill on the back end of that is huge for his late game scaling.
Already had that kill previously, now 4, 2, and 4. He hasn't put too many items into his inventory, so he's sitting on 2,000 gold right now.
He's got to go back for that local gold. There we go. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Get that turret. Get that extra turret.
So, again, the standing gold that's always there. He was running back for it. Somebody told him. But the gold that's always there when they get behind early with all these towers, TSM have evened them up once again. They're still in a hole, but that is the beginning to their road to comeback. And it wasn't a Zion cancel.
Nice job by
It was
Dyrus.
a complete Dyrus outplay to get TSM back into this.
Yeah, and then because he was mini Nard, Dyrus can teleport in afterwards. Wild Turtle stayed safe on the outside of the fight the whole time, and the big Nautilus coming in without a Nard to match. Critical to keep that fight even, because we have to remember CLG actually won pretty heftily at the beginning of that fight. Since TSM initiated heavily on Pobelter with the Yasuo Alistar combo, but did not instantly kill him, Pobelter got his full burst combo off back at TSM and basically won the first half of the fight for CLG.
See if that follow-up can still be there. Both teams, now that we've heard, Team Solo Mid and Counter Logic Gaming say they pride themselves towards that late game team fighting. CLG feels they're getting better. That's what we've seen TSM come back in games where they are very far behind. Right now it's 4,000 gold. CLG starting to pick up map pressure as TSM is doing the same on the bottom side.
And a really big item completion by Afromer. He has the Zeke's Harbinger in the mid game. So it's an Infinity Edge 80 carry with the Harbinger. That'll be 6 seconds of nearly 100% crit against very low armor targets.
Bjergsen is in the bottom lane right now. Yasuo cannot join this. CLG trying to get a 5 versus 4 by starting this Baron.
Yeah, well, they have it.
Yeah, we had 10 minutes before this happened last time. Now it's 21 minutes into the game.
They're staying on the Baron instead of fighting.
Lustboy getting hit up. That's Unbreakable Will off onto him. It does not look like he'll be able to take too much more. Santorin
on the way.
Deep into the fight. Lustboy goes down, and they have whatever target they want. It's going to be Bjergsen trying to put that last breath in. Cannot trigger the ultimate, however. Santorin definitely going down. CLG trying to assess if they can still take this fight, but it's not looking good anymore. Wild Turtle getting shots off, but he's out of mana. It's all up to the auto attacks, and Pobelter is running headlong into both Dyrus and Wild Turtle right now, but nobody can follow up in the Void Ooze. Nice stretch line coming in from Dyrus to start the fight once again. TSM was waiting to reposition, waiting to counter-engage, and another double kill for Wild Turtle.
Pobelter too far forward, and they turn it around. Dyrus with a key hook there, and they got the blue buff onto Wild Turtle.
These fights are incredible. Having Bjergsen on a melee definitely makes for more exciting games when he's on AP Ezreal, but this fight in particular was CLG overstaying at the Baron pit. If they wanted to force a 5v4, they needed to peel sooner. If they wanted to take the Baron, they needed to fully commit for the Baron. They were caught in between two choices, and the extended fight could still have gone either way, but TSM has the outplay, and they pull themselves back in this game.
TSM making that choice for them.
Lustboy, you got it, Lustboy.
Turtle takes. Lustboy is happy to do so as the support. So we'll see this once again. Very long fight.
Oh, yeah. Lustboy just runs right into Zion, and they get a huge chunk on him.
Yeah,
now it's panic mode.
Lustboy popped his ultimate early in order to dissuade the Baron, and as soon as that runs out, he actually gets hit. But no time for replays in this game. Caught on a Dyrus.
Batting orders back around. We're back to the Baron and back to fighting. Dyrus looks like he could go down here without any assistance. An error on the board there, and CLG is going to set up shop.
Yeah, persistent Baron pressure here from CLG. Dyrus will have his teleport up around the time that he respawns, so it's going to be difficult for CLG to really push this into a Baron. I think the game still stays close. One thing I do have to point out as well is the double Frozen Heart from TSM right now is doing a lot to make it so Doublelift can't take over this game with the Harbinger power spike. He has the crit, but he has no armor penetration yet. And as Kobe mentioned, it's really hard for him to take down Nautilus, Alistar, or Santorin.
They're also doubly on those Triforces right now. 23 minutes in, that's a heck of a lot of damage for them to have. If they get the fight they want, you will see Counter Logic Gaming's health bars just disappear right now. Pobelter or Doublelift still have the ability to do that, but it's going to be hard with this front line of TSM.
It's also hard for them to make use of this vision control that they have because they're facing Kog'Maw, and Turtle can just spam out artillery shots to check the brush. He keeps finding a target, and CLG haven't been able to make all of this vision control over Baron get them anything.
Yeah, I think it's really critical for CLG if they want him in a fight to be able to isolate Wild Turtle somehow. Based on how aggressive Bjergsen has been, there's been heavy focus on him, but that's leaving Wild Turtle pretty free to hit from the back line. and he's been kind of crushing it.
They're trying to burn down Baron while they fight the ward fight here in mid lane.
Minigun Jinx, real scary, but this is, again, a dangerous ploy. They have the vision coverage. Here we go.
They know it's happening already. Baron down to 14, 1,300, 900 HP. It's only Smithy. He grabs it. Dyrus very deep into the fight, but Pobelter's by himself on the back line and is forced to flash out. That's going to be a reset. Here comes Double Lift. Will they be able to get in? Zanya's down. Bjergsen, Pobelter 1v1. Chaos Storm reigns on that parade. It was a tough fight to win for Bjergsen, and Pobelter comes out on top. Now for Turtle. He dashes the zap, and it looks like it's going to be a follow-up from Xmithy. They're going for the kill.
Oh, what a bold call by CLG. They got Turtle.
There it is. Do they take Zion? No, they don't. That's the ace for Counter Logic Gaming.
And Baron. What a play right there. They start Baron in a 5v5 situation, stay for the Baron, and then win the fight? That is a ridiculous series of events.
You're the one running away after that.
Is a reason I want to highlight this Pobelter-Bjergsen matchup. He played that really well, the flank just on Victor. He re-engages with the Zonias to buy time for the rest of the team. CLG are able to collapse, and that was the difference between just getting Baron and leaving and getting Baron and taking out all of TSM.
Cannot emphasize enough how dangerous this was for CLG, and Pobelter
He draws the whole team away here.
Doesn't take
re-engages.
Doesn't take damage. As soon as the reset comes in, perfect timing on his Zonias, and the stun for his Chaos Storm. So he's ticking Bjergsen the whole time. The rest of CLG finishes off. Pobelter just a complete destruction of Bjergsen's Yasuo right there. Just, Zion's had a couple plays this game, and Pobelter had that play this game, where they are just playing out of their minds individually with their mechanics, and that is pushing them 9,000 gold ahead.
Pobelter, 233 to Bjergsen's 192 in that mid lane. Not something you see for Bjergsen to be a minus number at any point in the game against his mid laners, but he cannot make roams, make plays with the way that Pobelter has been bringing out this Victor for the first 2 games of the series. The team now with free run around the map, and that's what they're doing.
Pobelter and CLG as a team have done a great job of controlling the solo mid of Team Solo Mid. Now they march towards the base. Secondary turret down. Baron buff still up.
Talisman of Ascension there as well if they need to get in or out. Afromu already putting Iron Elixirs into his inventory.
TSM would have to go all in to stop this one.
Looks like
it would have to be a flash initiation from either Alistar or just a nice click by Nautilus. They get Xmithy in the turret.
Let's see if they go for broke. Xmithy takes a lot of damage. That could be the Yasuo last breath. They're going to wait on it. Lustboy hits up Zion Spartan, and they're also waiting for Mininar now. He gets an ultimate, not against the wall. TSM actually blows a few summoners to get into the right position to be in the right spot. That kill going to them, but Dyrus has also fallen. That's going to be Pobelter going down. Way too close now for CLG. Triple kill for Turtle. Looking for the Quadra. Not going to get it that time. It's a triple for Double Lift. He's looking for Bjergsen.
That pentakill came out of nowhere. That looked like the fight was going to turn in TSM's side, but Double Lift the whole time was free hitting. That might be the game.
It came off of Xmithy's explosive cast. And that is the game.
Oh my God. 10 seconds to burn these down. They're running out of minutes. They're probably going to have to back away.
Absolutely amazing play so far. If that's not the win, it might come shortly with that amount of power now just delivered to Counter Logic Gaming. A 12,000 gold lead, sub 30 minutes into the game with Double Lift pentakill.
We have 39 kills in 28 minutes.
Zion throws the team into the base, then Xmithy will ult them back out of the base.
Yeah, this fight did not start well for CLG, but they did have that gold advantage coming in. Smithy's super low, and honestly, they did a good job on the first disengage, but then decide to re-engage. Zion doesn't get the great Gnar ultimate. He wanted to get the wall stuns. It's honestly in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is where it seemed like the fight turned. It also looked like disaster. Watch this Xmithy Gragas ultimate. It looked like he was going to let TSM clean house with CLG. It was like, oh yeah.
All planned.
All planned. Because Double Lift
Let's
is
watch the crits here. Double Lift gets a crit on Santorin, then he gets 2 on the Turtle.
Another one.
Got another one on the Alistar. And he's able to take down Yasuo.
Infinity Edge, Static Shiv, Janna Shield, Zeke's Harbinger, setting Double Lift up to succeed. Reckless had a pentakill over in Europe in their best of 5 here. Yep. Double Lift gets a pentakill here. Only 30
fitting.
minutes in, we got 24 kills on CLG.
A little bloodier than last game, you could say.
A little bit.
Just by a tad. And continuously, we've said it going towards the end of the season, through the playoffs for these guys, Doublelift has been stepping up immensely. One of his best years that he has ever played as an AD carry. It's always been talk, and he's absolutely walking the walk this season.
Don't know if he's ever been better.
Yeah.
The way he positioned in the semifinals against Tip, Impact and Rush did nothing but try and kill Doublelift, and again he outplayed them with Trist. Jinx, obviously, whole nother animal. You have to really rely on your team as well as your own positioning. Definitely did it right there.
And he's not just cleaning up kills. He was doing a lot of the damage up front with rockets from the very start of that fight.
It was a majority of the damage, not just last-hitting champions, as AD carries love to do.
Yeah, this is way too far for TSM to be out.
It looks like they want a little bit of it. Parallel Convergence goes in. They're each doing it one by one, trying to sort each other out, but taking a little too much damage in the process. It looks like this turret's going down. Once again, Counter Logic Gaming making TSM walk to the beat of their drum.
Yeah, they have one inhibitor down in the bottom lane, 50 seconds on Baron. They're going to try their best to get some damage done here. Rather dangerous to push this without a Baron buff. But remember, with Yasuo mid lane, basically the only way TSM gets them off this turret is if they engage.
Wild Turtle just about to hit 16. It would really help with the long-range living artilleries, but they may not have time. Lustboy, Santorin just get hit up. He's forced to use the Echo ultimate and break time just to save his life. Santorin, Bjergsen, and Turtle running for solace on the base now as they watch Bjergsen get hit up. This is not going to be a good fight for them.
TSM used all of their knockups on the Gragas, on Smithy, and CLG punished them for it. That's going to be the game.
That is absolutely going to be the game.
Such a good game for CLG here.
27-15, Counter Logic Gaming go 2 in a row versus Team Solo Mid in the NALCS Summer Finals.
Who would have thought CLG would be up 2-0 in the NALCS Summer Split Finals? Just under a year ago, they were one game away from being relegated against Curse Academy. How far this team has come from that moment till now.
Ridiculous intensity from both of these teams. They came out firing, like we said, no risk, right? Go in, don't worry about it, just play for the win. And I think CLG is doing that a little bit more. They turned it up to 11 that game.
Yeah. Win 2 games. It's no more win 1 game to give fans false hope. How real is this hope
that
for CLG? Because they have been playing so well. That was
this is uncharted territory.
Yeah, it is. It was such an aggressive game there from CLG. Like, basically TSM, for one, put themselves in a position where they had to fight to get CLG off of rotations, and CLG was willing to take them on that fight every single time.
I can't wait for Game 3's Baron.
It's the... Baron jokes aside, it was the outplays that really impressed me from CLG.
Yeah.
Specifically, Zion Spartan in the top lane to start it all off. That Gnar 2v1 outplay really got CLG going.
And that pole belter just dangling a carrot out at that Baron pit. Zanya's.
Everybody on the squad made an outplay in that game.
Absolutely. Brought the win out for game number 2, and right now we're going to throw it over to the analyst line versus Olaf. He has been playing well on it, or consistently in lane and showing up well to the fights, but it could still be anything. TSM has an open board with Braum on the side of CLG.
The thing is, even though Olaf is up, Lulu is banned, and that's a big part of empowering the other members when they put Bjergsen on Lulu to give Dyrus the speed and the shields to be on the front line and be the carry. So they've kind of kneecapped that Olaf strategy a little bit by taking out the main support champion that you would want to run in mid lane.
Team Solo Mid definitely focusing on that Tristana of Doublelifts once again. Maybe the Jinx to their side. They do finally get the Gragas away from Xmithie. It would be nice for Santorin here. Dyrus looking to grab a Kog'Maw as well to flex around if needed.
I do like this, make Xmithie play something else. I was looking for, as I kept saying, the Echo and the Gragas denial, but at least they're going to deny some of the early game pressure. Xmithie did get that early Gragas gank onto Bjergsen that really determined a lot of the early flow of the mid lane. So he won't be able to make those body slam plays. Echo takes a bit longer to get going, but Xmithie still, if he does decide to stick with Cinderhulk jungler, of course, still will be that team fight presence that CLG have been wanting from him.
Still probably the expected pick for them for sure. I wonder if CLG wants to hide both of their solo lanes here with picks 2 and 3 like they did in Game 1. Because in Game 1 they picked Victor and Yasuo in their last 2 rotations as kind of a surprise. But if they really did want to still go with the Yasuo composition, you'd almost want to lock it down now because the priority of that pick has definitely escalated throughout this series.
Yeah, for sure it has. Both teams seeing the power that it's bringing in and the comfort level of each of the guys playing it, Bjergsen and Zion Spartan so far with those 2 plays. 10 seconds on the clock. CLG running out the clock every time they have the chance here, as they've done in picks and bans. The Ashe was banned first game away from Doublelift. He'll get it here in game 3 along with Smithy on that Tank Echo.
Yeah, and the thing about Tank Echo is his great follow-up CC. It's pretty hard to be the main initiation, but Doublelift will provide that. Aftermoo will provide that with the Braum. A lot of crowd control here for CLG already in the first 3 picks. Gonna make it difficult for Turtle.
Stun for a stun. What do we got on the other side? Bjergsen would love to Zed, showing love to one of his old champs here.
I feel like
Switch and lock.
he's kind of threatening this assassin to dissuade Pobelter from going back to Victor, because they haven't really been able to punish the early Victor picks. But assassins are one thing that you can try and use, especially if you're the team that does have the Gragas early game advantage for ganking. It's a risky style, but don't think they would pick it until they see a lock-in from CLG.
Yeah, well, it's interesting if TSM goes with Nautilus and Janna, which they do here. It's a great setup for Yasuo, aside from the fact that they'd still be low wave clear and again would be forced into having to fight every time CLG makes a rotation.
Yeah. But again, Gragas Janna picked up for double disengage options for their Kog'Maw.
Absolutely. This time, CLG wouldn't have the same disengage options if TSM picked Yasuo. It almost makes you want to see CLG pick it here, but then Yasuo can be disengaged, so a lot of mind games going on here. Basically, Zion gets to have his pick of the litter against top lane Nautilus, and Pobelter is in the unfortunate situation of having to pick his mid laner blind.
Still could decide to just go big tank. Zion has been quite the carry for the team so far. Why not be the Gnar? They've been playing around the bar perfectly, and his teleports have been on point. 3 games in a row for the Victor. If it's not broken, don't fix it. So much comfort for Pobelter here again in the mid lane.
And this is the type of team composition that CLG would play very standard team fights with. 3 big tanks, and they need to be able to protect the less mobile Victor and Ashe, who are going to be doing the majority of the damage here.
It's basically what you saw from CLG back in the day. Doublelift carry, go. A little bit of damage from mid lane.
TSM have to be expecting this Victor.
Yeah.
They've seen it already. They left it up. They didn't want to show their mid. So this is 100% something that they planned and that Bjergsen is really comfortable in as a counter pick. And again, I really do think that we will see more of Santorin in the mid lane now because he is on the Gragas and because they have this, well, there it is. It's the Yasuo comp. They want to go for it.
And they need to support Bjergsen this time, because last time he got ganged up on early around level 4 when he got ganked in the mid lane. And it's the cornerstone of this TSM composition working. He needs to be the one who can provide threat onto Pobelter and Doublelift through the tank line.
Yeah, they do have to be kind of careful. If they extend really far and deep for that pressure mid, Echo is actually really good at counter ganking. So even though Gragas can make the first move a lot better, Echo, if he's in the vicinity, does have a pretty good counter gank from Fog of War.
So seeing now 30 seconds on the clock, not a Jinx, not a Trist. Do we feel that CLG is going to back away from trying to crush down turrets, play more of a 2v2 lane, or do they stick with it?
That's going to be a really interesting adaptation. We can see if they can make it. Obviously, from a champion perspective, they're not as good at taking turrets quickly as before, and TSM still has the ability to initiate on them if they ever do rotations. So the CLG style that has been working with them is just inherently less effective with these team compositions.
We'll see if they can pivot. That's what the word has been coming into game number 3 here, and we are just about to get on the Rift. Make sure to head over to Twitter, hashtag TSM, hashtag CLG at LOL Esports, and we'll be tallying those up throughout the game, and you'll see at the bottom of the screen. This has been already an amazing series, an explosive 39 kill plus second game of the series as we go into game 3 and possibly that match point for CounterLogic Gaming if TSM cannot pull themselves back in.
Yeah, it is do or die time for TSM, absolutely. The #1 seed is actually incredibly important. Even though TSM is already going to Worlds as first or second seed, being able to be in that top group at the Worlds for the group draw really impacts their matchup.
Other teams as well hanging on the win of this. Liquid hoping that TSM can pull themselves out of the rut here and start to get a victory. The players clearing their minds, entering the Rift now for Game 3. It's CounterLogic Gaming versus Team Solo Mid for your North American Summer Split LCS Finals. We're into Game 3. Again, Pobelter on the comfort of Victor. 3 straight games in a row. Zion Spartan has been having great play in the top lane. The TSM fans are still there and standing strong behind their team to get back in this series.
Fighting against the CLG chance as well, but TSM definitely audible through the noise of the crowd. Looks like we're getting some deep lane swap wards early. So definitely some tomfoolery to be happening early on in this one.
Trying to find the straggler there.
That's an unfortunate ward for CLG to be sitting on. I really like it when teams are going for these deep lane swap wards, when they place a ward in their own side of the jungle that they expect to be invaded on. It delays their push invade a little bit because someone had to go place that ward in the first place, but the potential for knowledge is just so great. They already saw with that one ward that Double and Afro have recalled to go bottom, and they know where Xmithy is starting his jungle. They really have knowledge of pretty much everyone.
Yeah, even with that knowledge, though, they're going with the safe answer to it. Oh, never mind. They are sending the duo over around. This is not the safe answer. They're looking to try and pick up the kill off of this red buff damage.
CLG has no idea.
While doing it. Really good side swipe here. They're going to come in from behind him. Will they answer the flash?
They got to go fast, otherwise he's going to get smited away.
You're going to be able to see him before they get through. The red buff does get stolen. Zion Spartan very low. It's Smithy. Flash is still up. He has a chance to make a play here, but he's got to walk him around. Does he waste more time now? Flash is down for Smithy. Not going to hurt too bad. Around 7 minutes, he'll have it back up. Hopefully he does not get in too much trouble for it.
Yeah, the great escape by Xmithy after he gets caught out, but honestly, an early game disaster for CLG nonetheless.
Yep.
Santorin gets the red buff. I think he also got the small monsters, so CLG has to walk away, not only with low health bars, but also no experience from that. Maybe they did get one of the small ones, but that's still a big loss.
It's going to be an early recall from Zion Spartan. He is sitting at 300 HP with no potion, and Dyrus on full health Nautilus. Well, easily can bully.
That works even better. Now you know the junglers and the flash for top is down around 7 minutes. That could easily be a repeat, or I should say a first-time gank for the top lane for Team Solo Mid. Things are about to slow down here as we are getting our first duo matchup in all the lanes.
This definitely keys up Santorin to make use of this Gragas early on. Not only does he have a lead on Echo, but he knows there are 2 flashes down on CLG, and there's a mid lane that he also wants to affect. So there are several options for him to go with.
Very safe at this point for him if he can kick it into high gear in just a few minutes. Bjergsen and Belter trading HP along with CS in the mid lane. Smithy doing at it. Going blues on each side. You can see Santorin a little bit faster of a clip here on his jungle.
Yeah, he better have.
Early having that red buff kind of helps. 3.5 minutes in, Santorin looks like he will start to get a little bit of an invade going towards the bot side. See if he can give Smithy any trouble, but he's already out.
Nice shot.
Yeah, I mean, just to call back to what happened at level 1, TSM knowing where CLG was going to be starting, the old super conservative TSM would have just used that knowledge to make sure they didn't fall behind early game, but to go in for the risk, go for the 2v2, attempt the smite steal, all big time risks.
There it is.
Santorin was trying to get the flash.
It's going to be. No way.
He was a minion? No minions.
That's the kind of things that TSM cannot have happen in the early game. They mirror imaged what they did to Bjergsen there, but completely aired it.
That is not what I meant when I said affect the mid lane for Santorin. All right, well, I guess technically he did get the exhaust out of Pobelter, but not worth it.
Specifically what happened there is Santorin was trying to threaten his body slam flash to make Pobelter flash away because his body slam was not going to connect. Pobelter kind of called him on his bluff, knowing he'd have the exhaust anyway, and also knowing that he was going to be in turret range if it did connect. And then Santorin ended up just taking turret shots and not burning the flash anyway, and it turned into a complete disaster.
Yeah, it all fell apart when Santorin didn't go immediately as Bjergsen got his knock up with Yasuo. You have to start walking right before that. There needs to be very clear communication so you can get to that lane, because Pobelter's not that far extended.
A few of the lanes that are always getting a love from each other. Jungler to mid, jungler to top. It should definitely be clear calls in that situation. And we'll see if they can repair a bit of that mishap. Santorin's flash is now down pretty much equal with Xmithy in that aspect since the beginning of the game. Xmithy, however, now going to pick up his red, may be able to get effective off of that one, as Santorin's going to be wearing off pretty soon here.
Yeah, that gank really fumbled Santorin's early edge. It gave Xmithy a lot of time to recover farm. It's also going to change the flash discrepancy on junglers, so the threat from Xmithy is going to be greater than the threat from Santorin in about 1 or 2 minutes when his flash comes back up.
All right. Stand behind me all the way up. Wild Turtle takes a hit, but they cannot get the concussive blows passive down on Winter's Bite to stop Wild Turtle. Good trade of damage back there. And Lustboy just getting the auto attacks in with the right shields as well. Pobelter has backed, so he had enough gold to get what he needed back in the lane. As you see, Xmithy was going towards the bot side, but just grabbing Scuttle. So CLG happy actually with the error that TSM just did. Know they can use this time to breathe a little bit.
Yeah, it also bought time, you know, for the top lane, which top lane already, oh, here comes Santorin through lane.
Walk it off.
Afromove's got a dash, so. But anyways, the top lane there, their flashes are coming right back up, so will be a lot less vulnerable as well. And the options getting a lot smaller.
Yeah. I have to note that was a really poor gank by Santorin. He had no flash to threaten. There were no summoner spells threatening for CLG.
A Janna Cog lane is a hard lane to go for a lane gank.
Especially, yeah.
As
especially with the minions at the turret. Like a lane gank could maybe work if he sneaks in the side brush.
Yeah.
And when he did that, he also provided a relief of pressure for both Pobelter and Zion Spartan, because they know now that there's no way they're getting ganked by Santorin anytime soon.
Yeah, Xmithy did spend that time trying to get some wards down for Pobelter in that mid lane, so trying to protect against that bottom side.
Keeps him safe, as well as no entry behind Dragon into that tri-brush if that wants to be Santorin's as well for bot lane. These guys 55 to 50, so no real discrepancy between those two. One will be cleaned up on the other as the waves push towards each other. As we make 8 minutes, definitely the slowest of our games here without any kills yet. We had seen first bloods by now, but it looks like both teams are playing very risk averse here to start after their errors.
I like this little ping up on top side from CLG. Zion Spartan communicating to Xmithy that there's a ward in that brush. They just pinged it. And he's going to run right by it. They already got the engage here. Darius does get his hook off. Yep. So they did have the information, just...
They were trying to time that with the Mega Gnar right there, hoping to get it, but now TSM's actually primed for a counterattack. Nautilus plus Yasuo is a hell of a combo.
Santorin walked down on that one. Are they going to get another one? Where's the explosive cast go? No, Santorin's 5. They only have a bit of follow-up damage. Is it enough to get a kill, though? They do have Xmithy in. He flashes. Oh, it's going to be one left. Bjergsen might go down. The wind wall stops it. They're going to sit and look.
Pobelter is rolling up to
right
try and catch Bjergsen, but the rest of TSM would have to come down to help him.
Zion Spartan has an exit. They can walk him out. Big brother Pobelter comes up to walk everybody into safety, and they're going to be able to get out of that one.
The Secret Service escort there.
Getting a little chilly in here.
Pobelter able to get the low health members out from under the turret. Double lift ruining his accuracy percentage.
Everybody calms down. Nothing to see here. No first blood has been had, despite the chaos and mayhem we just saw in the top lane. It does show that Darius is actually getting a pretty big edge on Zion Spartan. It all started with the level 1 in the jungle, but Darius has actually been pushing that advantage pretty well, and he's ahead of Zion Spartan in the defense versus offense arms race. Nautilus wants to get to his Frozen Heart and health stacking really soon. Zion Spartan wants to get to his Cleaver, and Darius has already been able to get that Glacial Trap.
Yeah, it's so difficult going to lane, already chunked and with no potion there. Takes away a lot of Gnar's early game, where he wants to try and be the bully and harass from range.
It's good for Darius, though. He's had these games so far in this series where Zion Spartan or the duo has been able to take control. So for Darius to be starting off well on that front line tank Nautilus, it should help TSM in these mid-game fights. See if he can keep Zion Spartan down a bit. Phage built up now to Darius's Glacial Shroud as we start to pan out into this game. 10 minutes now. CLG feeling comfortable with their lead. They don't really have to pressure anything here. They can make TSM make all the moves.
Yeah, this is one of those games that looks more apt to be the TSM pace that they are comfortable with, because it's very clearly going to be going into a team fight phase.
And this game honestly, because of the level 1, should be more in favor than TSM. It's dead
last
even,
point.
and he gets caught in the first roam here.
He dodges the time winder, so he's going to be able to get out of that. The concussive blows almost cost him his life as they were all quickly procced out. A lot of resources used for Lustboy.
0 for 2.
That would have had to have been an atomic arrow if they wanted to get that one out. Pobelter may have been in laser range, though. They are still trying, still going into the jungle here after using ultimates. Have the summoners to do it. Let's see how they come out.
Both top laners also have teleport if this does erupt into a big-time fight, but with Lustboy being down summoner spells, it's kind of difficult for TSM to collapse on. Speaking of which, Bjergsen is looking for it.
Giant Spartan just charged up his rage bar for this, and Darius was huddling under his turret at the time. Both of them trying to prep for this fight. It goes down to a smite fight that Smithy wins.
Narbar in the top lane. This could be good timing if Dyrus can get out of this with a high amount of HP to teleport down. And they'd have small Gnar for the fight. It still looks like the do-si-do here for wards in the bot. Smithy's going to pick up Scuttle, and actually everybody disperses from the area for now for Dragon.
That invade, though, from CLG to catch Lustboy. That was so lucky for TSM that both Santorin and Lustboy were level 6 for the double disengage. That's why we keep highlighting the Janna and the Gragas.
And I think we're going to be seeing more of that as this game moves towards the team fight phase. The fact that TSM has actually taken so much disengage is looking to hamstring CLG's aggression a little bit. Obviously, CLG has good initiation tools, maybe even great initiation tools. Ash Arrow, plus Echo, plus a Gnar ultimate all together. But the disengage is also so great. So it's going to be a really cute back and forth of who can engage on whom. TSM actually would have the more reliable initiation, mainly because CLG doesn't have the same disengage tools. And one Yasuo ultimate can wreak havoc.
And what just happened here was there was a ward up top. Santorin walked on the ward. Very clear call there from CLG. We've got information on the jungler. Punish him on the opposite side of the map. Easily done, very well executed. They get the dragon for it. Santorin doesn't get anything for his gank. And recalls from the brush in River. So not much gain for him on the top side. Still struggling a bit.
CLG should definitely know, or be knowing what they're looking at. 4 out of the last 6 wins at the end of the split were Janna Gragas compositions. TSM had a few of them themselves, but CLG, this is their bread and butter composition that they've been running.
Slowed for this arrow.
Yeah, well, CLG loves being able to choose their own engagements, so that's why their disengage is so valuable, especially with their style of constantly pushing up to enemy turrets and just sieging them down again and again. Incredibly pivotal.
Santorin is waiting for another lane counter gank here, but look at this. Pobelter comes in from behind the turret.
Counter the counter gank?
And the teleports as well.
Oh, Pobelter, like you said, from behind the turret, they weren't expecting him right away. The exhaust for the body slam as well, mitigating some of the damage. Belter stays alive. The laser just missing. One more attack. Nobody's going through the turret. A good call as well. CLG may have gone deeper there previously, but CLG wants the turret now.
It's miraculous the Pobelter made it to that spot without being seen or called by Bjergsen from the mid lane. That's so much of the pressure from Victor being able to shove up the lane and then roam. Eventually, he can get where he wants to go.
Well, it's also because of the wards they laid down to get that dragon. They've got double pink wards in the river, so Pobelter can feel confident pushing his lane and then roaming. Gets all the way behind the turret, and even with the teleport answered from Dyrus having to cancel it there, CLG, another first blood.
Yeah, as you said, he walks through the double pinks in the river to get there. Afro got super aggressive because they're honestly planning a dive. Santorin looks like he's going to throw a wrench into things, and it's actually Zion with the clutch interrupt. If Nautilus came in there, this could have been a much different fight.
Definitely would have turned towards TSM favor.
Those little things continue to fall in CLG's favor, and they're not just falling in, I should say, absolutely rewarding to the plays they're making.
Oh, he missed the sweep.
Ooh. Yeah. Just over on the other side. The rest of CLG is going to be here to party. And it looks like we got a crowd, actually. A whole 5v5 may go on after this one. Bjergsen throws out the wall. Concussive blows is down. Smithy goes in by himself. The team can't really close that gap just yet. Dyrus takes the arrow to the face. Should be safe in this situation with the flash out. A lot of back and forth there with some summoner spells.
TSM do take down the turret, but CLG now pressing back. They want to answer here.
And there's the Gragas disengage down, the Nautilus ult down. Bjergsen doesn't have very many ways to get into the fight at this point. So CLG feeling pretty confident to move up. The Gragas body slam could still net Bjergsen a nice knock-up target.
That's true.
We could
Let's
see
play
Howling Gale.
Almost got the setup there with the tornado.
Just setting up for the fight. Both teams staring into the white of each other's eyes right now. This one has to, actually Dyrus just back without teleport
I mean,
there.
the punishment as well. TSM doesn't really have wave clear to stop this as well, so it's a lot of damage they can get down. Kog'Maw doing his best with the Gragas. Really almost no turret damage goes down. I wonder how long TSM will hold this as Dyrus pushes down the bottom lane.
Yeah, the reason CLG were doing this is because they had a big wave down bottom. Now they know that Dyrus is down there without teleport because of Zion being able to cancel it in the last play. So they were going to get a turret either way. It was either a bunch of damage from the minions down bottom, or they have to give up the outer turret, and CLG, their pressure is rewarded.
Yep, they can disperse now, leave a double lift towards that top side to free farm as he loves to. Let's see what kind of core items we get on. 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
That is going to be Afro Moose.
The king!
If he wasn't slowing you enough already.
Oh, wow, and CLG gets an ideal solo turret kill for double lift. They love being able to isolate him with turrets since he is such a core part of their late game team fighting strategy. Surprising they're able to get that solo kill 16 minutes into the game.
Yeah, funnily enough, slow's no longer stacked, so red buff on Braum.
Virtually useless.
Pretty much. Well, he gets regeneration, so.
And the damage. If he hits him, you get the burn.
Yeah, man.
It's true. That hot ice. 22, or rather 2K ahead as they're at 24,000 gold right now. CLG, the small leads they've had, they have been able to catapult those into very, very large leads, and it happens quick, not usually slowly throughout the game. We've seen ace upon ace in these games right now. One for TSM, one for CLG, and CLG is always coming up in the dragon fights when it matters, when their waves are ready to push a turret. TSM usually has a few things to repair. Again, CLG ready at the turret. See if TSM can hold this one off for now. Looks like they'll have the power in numbers, but that may be the only safe way to travel for the time being.
I'm very curious if, so Aframu in enemy territory here, but he's able to get out.
Yeah.
I'm curious if Pobelter will go with a more defensive build like Double Lift as well, since Double Lift rushed for the Bloodthirster that he likes to do. He's going to have a shield for Yasuo all in.
Gets super aggressive.
But that would just, all
right, he still wants
nice
it.
Wind wall.
Glacial Fissure fizzled out. Nothing coming of it there. The wind wall from Bjergsen perfectly placed down. TSM gets another look at the fight.
Yeah, and the Dragon setup had been favoring CLG with vision control, but now they are down a Gnar teleport as well as a flash ultimate onto Aftermoon. Pretty much nothing bird from TSM. So if TSM was going to take a fight, it would be around now. They just have to make sure not to be in the corridor to eat the Victor damage.
The only thing for TSM that's bad is that Turtle's really low on mana, and Kog'Maw actually does rely significantly on that for the team fight. Looks like they're going to come up.
Yeah, this is almost surely a fight.
Zion Spartan still level 10. There's a lot of level 11s on the side of Team Solomid. Dyrus hooks out of that one. TSM trying to restructure this one for themselves. The Gnar bar is out. They're trying to wait for that to cool down, but their health bars are not going to last that long. Chaos Storm slowly chasing as it starts to go out, and they now want to re-engage. Just like outside their base, they're trying to calculate when and when not they can go in for this. And Dragon looks like he's just going to be angry for this entire time. Nobody has the focus.
Dragon wins that team fight. Fights both teams off. Everybody has to
fight another day. So many resources burned from that one. Low mana on tons of people. Turtle's going to stick around to try and finish this turret, but this means he's going to be slow on the next Dragon fight. This actually could cost TSM the next Dragon, the fact that Turtle's trying to push this wave in. He already had his Trinity Force, and he's only sitting on 700 gold, so the fact that he didn't get the turret, that's actually very critical.
Yeah, he's going to be really slow back out there now.
It's basically CLG's Dragon. All right.
Unfortunate turn of events. Again, the small things that continue to affect Team Solomid negatively in these games.
I have to point out the respect that TSM was giving Zion Spartan to Gnar in that last team fight. His timing of jumping in with Mega Gnar has been impeccable throughout this series, but that one was the same. And as he jumped in, the entire fight dispersed. TSM actually would have had the upper hand, but they themselves reset the fight because Zion was going to get such an amazing Gnar ultimate.
The wave not partially cleared by Monsoon, so there was no follow-up of Voidooz. A full minion wave helps them take down mid-turret now. We'll see what they can do with 15 seconds towards Baron. There's no coverage there, and it's still about the Dragon.
Oh, that vision.
That's a stun on Lust Boy.
Deja vu for Lustboy. Can he get out of it the second time? The arrow hits this time, however, and now they're on to Bjergsen. He tried to cover, dangle that carrot to the entire team. This might be a bad pinch for Counter Logic Gaming. If Bjergsen can get back in, he goes in for Smithy, but gets taken down immediately with that Time Winder. They're gonna start trading kills back and forth. Wild Turtle in a bad spot. Doublelift may be able to clean up a few more before a Cathian surprise, and he does get one. A double kill for Turtle in his death, and CLG come up with the ace at 20 minutes.
Another bloodbath fight, but this one favors CLG because of the ace. Incredibly close back and forth, but ultimately because Lustboy was caught at the start of the fight, CLG gains the upper hand.
Yep, they're going to get the Dragon off it. They also had bottom wave pushing, so it does get to the turret. Lustboy is going to be there to try and salvage these minions. Looks like he's going to even hold it here and wait for Turtle to arrive.
Yeah, such a close fight here because of how tight the corridor was.
This is what preparation and vision control will do for you. Lustboy didn't have his ultimate, the long cooldown from that last team fight, and they do take him out.
So Bjergsen actually used Last Breath onto Doublelift really early on in the fight, and then he flashed the arrow after that. So everyone's incredibly low as they're chasing after this one.
Turtle really not able to choose the target there. Does get another stack of Braum on him, and Doublelift procs it for the kill.
Yeah. Doublelift with his Bloodthirster Ash, more defensive capabilities. If it was an Eye-Edge Ash, he would have been zeroed out at the start of that fight and wouldn't have been able to do damage. That's really important in the greater context of this, because that also would have meant that Bjergsen, since he would have taken fewer auto attacks from Ash, may have even cleaned up that fight with Yasuo as he was trying to dash through the sides at the end of that one.
Counter Logic Gaming playing very smooth right now in the series as well. We can also see why Ash pretty much taken away from them that first game. They can just go clean initiations now, being up.
Yeah, and the second half of that I was wondering about a couple minutes ago is would Pobelter also build with the defensive route? And he has gone with the early Zhonya's this time, deviating from the last game.
Afro gets really aggro. They get Wild Turtle!
Turtle in the back. He's going to go down immediately. Xmithy finds his priority target. Santorin follows. Here we go. Xmithy on the double kill. They're chasing for Dyrus and Lustboy. But do CLG head down mid? No, they start tailing onto TSM. Time Winder doesn't hit. They have to choose a new target.
CLG is not giving TSM time to breathe. Right after the Dragon goes down, they go right back to the mid lane. They're using their chains of initiation really well there. Turtle had the cleanse down, meaning he was a target for the arrow, and that moves into a 22-minute Baron attempt.
This is honestly a CLG we see playing past when CLG was their best. These guys are playing amazingly from top to bottom. Xmithy is showing up well now with big criticisms in the beginning of the split for him, as well as Pobelter. Will he show up? And he is.
Yeah, coming into this series as well, CLG, the only way they ought to qualify for Worlds is if they win this. If they lose, they'd have to go play in the regional qualifier. So a 3-0 here is of so much importance.
They've provided themselves with the path here. The first time they're seeded into playoffs as well. They get a chance to look at the other teams, see what they're up against, and they just take it to them. It really seems to be that year for CLG, but TSM still has a say. Only 23 minutes into game number 3. They are still alive in this series and still fighting back.
Yeah, we're kind of reaching that critical mass point for CLG, though, because it is a 6,000 gold lead with the Baron buff, and this is exactly the moment when CLG wants to have the Baron buff. Wild Turtle can't clear the minions. He's not farmed enough yet, especially Baron minions, and the core weakness, as you will, of a Yasuo mid is your susceptibility to siege, especially when the other team has Baron buff. Basically, it's a 5,500 gold differential, and if TSM wants to stop the turret cascade, they have to fight with that difference.
Plus, they don't even just have to be worried about the siege. CLG are also very well prepared to go for a dive as well. These side turrets are even more dangerous to defend.
Yeah, I mean, the outer turrets are the dangerous ones, but at the same time, if they let the outer ones be taken, the gold lead balloons into 9,000 and 10,000, and the game becomes even more insurmountable. So you'd almost think this is the do-or-die moment for TSM, but really, there's such a small win condition if they do fight.
Yeah. Flexing their muscles here with Parallel Convergence just to get the push off of the turret as it goes down. Still going to work this Baron buff towards the bottom lane. Getting this inhibitor would really open up the map for Counter Logic Gaming, something they've owned pretty much every game from the get-go. even with a bit of a mistake this game, they've been able to route that and find themselves back into an advantage.
Yeah, with this Baron buff, they can just continue to switch targets, move over to the next secondary turret here. They're laying down wards as they travel through the jungle, keep TSM boxed up inside their own base so that TSM's own wards will expire. Here they go for the initiation, though. They found double lift.
Might be getting themselves a little too sure that I don't think this is going to work. Aframu goes down. False sense of security for CLG. They feel like they're a little more powerful maybe. Still staying for the fight, a 5v4 as they start to split up. Bjergsen in a 1v1 now with Xmithy. That did not look like it was going his way, and he has to back off. Dyrus now for the peel, but he goes to the front. Bjergsen called for that. They wanted the last breath. Zion Spartan's able to hit it. Double stays alive with the Bloodthirster build. Lustboy in the middle. The Monsoon goes off, but it's all he's got for the team. TSM is now off for themselves. Can Santorin stay alive? No, he does over the wall. Yes, another kill coming in for Echo. Xmithy comes up. That's a triple over the entire fight, and I don't think they're going to be able to clean it finally. Dyrus stays alive after the initiation with Santorin.
TSM finds the impossible fight. Down 7,000 gold against a Baron team. They actually get a clean engage in the jungle that isn't in defense of their turrets right there. This type of fight is the only thing that can keep TSM alive in this game, and they got it.
And they barely came out. They barely came out with some gold after it, too.
Yeah, I mean,
now,
CLG was so spread at the start of this one.
Yeah, so this one, initially, Double Lift actually able to juke Santorin and flashes the wall at the same time. There's a desync between Dyrus and Santorin. Santorin actually knocks Pobelter out of the way from the hook. But then the big re-engages here where they set up Bjergsen for the Yasuo ultimate. It's the Janna into the hook here, and he's able to get to Pobelter gets annihilated.
That's the biggest thing in this fight is Pobelter getting annihilated. Zion Spartan doesn't quite get Mega Gnar at the right time.
The Lustboy reset of the fight for TSM. Smithy did have a pretty big ulti there on Echo, though.
Also, we have to point out that Smithy is 7-0 on Echo, the tank Echo, meaning the DPS of CLG is not the main holders of this 6,000 gold advantage, so the teamfights will be a little bit closer. TSM corner themselves off. I think we got another fight on our hands.
Bit of a shield there in the parallel convergence, but they are on to Xmithy. He's going to be out of the fight. Whoa! Jumping straight in, double lift now coming from the top side. Zion Spartan had a beautiful ultimate as they continue the fight. TSM definitely in retreat on this one as they lose Santorin. They're on their way for Lustboy now. He should have the movement speed to get away, and this should mean some lane pressure coming in.
But they're on the wrong side of the map, Riv. This is TSM running into CLG's base.
Yeah, it's a full retreat. They are so scattered right here. Bjergsen is turned tail and ran. CLG's actually pretty low in this chase, but they should clean up.
Luckily for Team Solo Mid, CLG's waves are still on CLG's side of the map, but there is a dragon that's alive, and that's TSM pretty much losing any pressure. They just gained advantage out of the last fight. Winter's Sparrow across the top side of the wall. Afro flashed over Raptor Pit to make it count. The plays keep coming.
The great bait.
TSM sticking around in the lane just for some minion farm there. Wow, CLG just took over with that.
The amount of pressure these teams are under right now, Kobe. Madison Square Garden, TSM been in every single LCS final. CLG never won an LCS final. TSM does not want to let their longtime rivals pick up the first round, and they are down not only 2-0 in the series, but also by a substantial amount of gold in this game. They are sticking around because they're trying to claw their way back, and they do not have the fallback pattern of wave crew that they are so accustomed to having, so they have to fight.
Yeah, the only pattern that they do have is a full wombo fight, and they haven't been able to do it.
Very interesting setup that we see TSM going with. Yasuo played by Zion Spartan. Not seeing too much of Bjergsen coming out of the season, coming out of any of the playoffs. Now Yasuo, each side of the map. Does not seem like Team Solo Mid was ready. That communication still on the engages. Lustboy's been there to save a lot of people, not to help a fight reset and go back in.
The only thing TSM are hoping for now is finding somebody out of position. Trying to punish CLG for splitting up, trying to use a numbers advantage, but looks like CLG already flanking around. Aframu's real deep in their territory, laying down wards, prepping for this Baron. CLG gonna try and bait in and get one of the picks with their Ash Arrow if TSM try and check this Baron.
Dyrus trying to add a little bit of pressure on the bottom.
Arrow.
It would be from the fog, so
waiting.
have a potential clean shot.
Santorin might have a pretty good move.
Really poor vision control by TSM here. They have a Scrying Orb as well as a Kog'Maw to try and scout the brushes, but if they miss one of them, it's either a Baron going down or a clean fight for CLG, and at this juncture in the game with the lead that CLG has already accumulated, could very well be the NALCS championship.
Ooh, the team called for a shot due to the fact that they had TSM split on the left and bottom side. Dyrus is the only one getting hit, right. And it does not look like they want to follow. Chaos Storm, 50% HP. Wild Turtle does get hit by the boomerang, but there's not much follow-up right now. And it looks like Team Solo Mid able to take a breath here after almost getting engaged on.
Well, this is all the preparation of CLG. They prep the top
still
wave.
in their favor.
They prep the top wave before they start doing these Baron baits. So even if it's unsuccessful, they got a big wave into the turret there. Bjergsen's forced to move up, and CLG retreat.
And now Turtle's at half health from the last half engage, so he needs the time to lifesteal off of this one, whereas CLG really didn't take the damage from that. Ashe Arrow already half off of cooldown. They are trying their best to keep the pressure applied.
They don't have much to save each other either, other than that Monsoon. Cleanse and
they get the stuns.
That's on the Turtle. Still can't cleanse. He tries to use it, but he still gets hit so hard. Flown into the fight. Turtle's alive with the Storm Shield from Lustboy as he's keeping an eye, and the team is peeling, but CLG continues to try for the kills.
Lustboy with the flash Monsoon.
Ridiculous.
He can only do that once every 5 minutes, though. Can't afford to make that mistake again. That cost them the flash not only on Lustboy, but also all of Turtle's summoners as well. He is extremely vulnerable now.
Yeah, and TSM is also in an incredibly inconvenient part of the game. There are Frozen Hearts and Randwin's Omens completed on the side of CLG, and the physical damage dealers of Yasuo and Kog'Maw on TSM's side are not even close to Last Whisper. Turtle gets hit on him!
No way! Backing right in the middle around Baron. They had the ward, but there was still vision. And it looks like Santorin may go down next. Bjergsen will definitely follow. CLG is absolutely cleaning up in the middle of the rift right now. Team Solo Mid gets caught backing.
You can only hold out for so long against this relentless pressure from CLG. The Ashe Arrow finds itself true once again, and CLG goes for Baron.
They burned all of Turtle summoners in the last engage. This, barring an... Okay, if that tornado steals, all right, it's not been long enough. Afro's gonna stop it, and CLG grab Baron.
Little love for Bloodwater. It's all right, though. Didn't happen.
It's been done before.
Oh, my gosh. This, however, by CLG has not been done before. What stellar play coming into the playoffs throughout as well, and through the end of the season. They said themselves, we came out of a slump. It's always easy to hear somebody say that and feel good for them, but they are absolutely showing that they came out. We'll see this once again in this
Turtle
replay.
didn't walk into the brush with the rest of his team that was under Pink Ward cover.
Wow.
And that prompted the Ashe Arrow from Doublelift. Game-defining recall fail right there from Wild Turtle. The rest of CLG can just pile.
And you have to figure how strong CLG thinks they are. With Pink Ward coverage in that, it might just be a Turtle bait. But they didn't care at all.
Now, locking down Turtle, he's had to use his cleanse pretty much on cooldown this game.
Yeah, it was already
There's
down.
been so much focus on him. And now another Baron buff push. And the only way TSM defends is with a fight.
Down to the bottom turret. Same story, just on the other side of the map. Counterlogic Gaming was here around the same time last game. 1 minute on Dragon brings them to 4. It's something they may not even need to go for. They're not onto the turret just yet. They're actually going for more kills still with the arrow down. May give a little assurance to Team Solo Mid that they can hang out for a bit. Smithy does have the chrono break to get into a good situation, but his Shadow's now still inside, so he can fight. Afro move, going salami, tanking that turret. He knows he goes down. He's letting the team fight, just tanking the turret completely, knowing Counterlogic Gaming is stronger. The double kill, the triple kill now coming in for Pobelter. Doublelift's gonna clean one up. 40 seconds on the clock, boys.
And the faithful shall be rewarded. CLG take the inhibitor. They're gonna take the Nexus turrets, and they're gonna take a trip to Worlds.
This is gonna be it. Counterlogic Gaming fighting every season since there has been one, and now taking down Team Solo Mid at Madison Square Garden to be your 2015 Summer Split champions.
A well-earned trio by CLG. They crafted the team compositions, they stepped up to the pressure, and they executed time and time again when it mattered. Huge kill scores in these games against TSM. They fought early and often, and they don't drop a single game throughout the playoffs.
Absolutely crazy. 3-0. Counter Logic Gaming over Team Solo Mid. And Counter Logic Gaming is your 2015 North American Summer Split champion. Something they have wanted for so long, and you know what? It's something the fans wanted for a long time as well, so I'm sure they're happy to give it to them.
Just going back throughout LCS history, all the times that CLG has been hyped up going into the playoffs and then just fallen flat on their face, you almost never thought this moment would come. But it just happened. 3-0 against TSM.
And it was due to contributions from every single member on the team.
Every bit of it.
And there's the trophy.
A lot of hard work these guys put in to get here today. Every split would start to drown out towards the end. This one started to go uphill, and you know what? They went to the top.
Also to come to New York in Madison Square Garden and have by far their best playoff performance ever. Smithy, no memes for this one.
Nope.
Other than great Echo and Gragas ultimates throughout.
Absolutely
doesn't have a good
ridiculous.
ring to it, so it's not going to catch on, but it's still impressive.
Yeah, you're going to need some work on that, Jack.
Doublelift getting his chance at Worlds. The supporting staff of Counter Logic Gaming, coaches, analysts, and the like, all part of this win right here. Fantastically played by the team.
Huhi as well, rarely mentioned since we haven't seen him on the stage, but coming in, practicing with Pobelter in the mid lane.
Over and over.
Their coach, Blurred Lines, never on the stage with them for picks and bans because that is done by their analyst, Zeke's Law. So really the whole crew out there for CLG basking in the victory.
That's right. All right, right now we are going to send it